Road to the Kentucky Derby on Fox Sports 2. It kicks off with a Jerome from Aqueduct, where Studley Do-Right tries to add to his Nashua score in November as a likely favorite and a chance at a third stakes win. Last year, Hot Springs 3-year-old preps produced both the Oaks and Derby winners for trainer Ken McPeak. Today, Smarty Jones kicks off their Super 3-year-old series. His hot property, champion trainer Brad Cox's next big Derby prospect. He looked the part in his debut at Fairgrounds. Kale's Angel proved he could run and run fast on dirt in his stakes score in the Advent. But can he stretch out that speed of his to 2 turns? It's all next as we chart our course for the first Saturday in May on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Gorgeous weather, a little bit on the cooler side here on the East Coast in South Ozone Park, New York, but sunny skies as we get set for the first points race on the road to the Kentucky Derby here in New York of 2025. That is the Jerome, lost a major player, but still a very quality and contentious field that will line up. I'm Greg Wolf. Good to be with you. I'll introduce you to my analyst here in just a moment. This race from here in New York, and of course, this Smarty Jones kicking off that tremendous 3-year-old series in Hot Springs, Arkansas on the road to the Derby. We'll have Lafitte Pinkai, Paula Duca with coverage from out there as well. Take a look at the upcoming Derby preps ahead. Jerome Smarty Jones will kick things off later this month. LeCompte from Fairgrounds. Hot Springs back at it with the Southwest on January 25th when those points move up a little bit, and 20 points to the winner with both the LeCompte, Southwest, and Holy Bull to get into that Kentucky Derby starting gate. Things move fast, even though we do have a long way to go in terms of this Derby trail. Andy Serling, Jonathan Kinchin here, and in terms of this Jerome today for Studley Do-Right, things got a little bit easier for him today.
Well, I mean, everybody's going to be happy when the favorite scratches out, or the morning line favorite. With the 8-horse coming out of here, theoretically, it makes it easier for everybody to win the race. Studley Do-Right drew well towards the outside. He's a consistent runner, and he's the one horse in this race that you can say he's got the races to do it. He's run consistently in his career. The others are more on the come. How good these horses ultimately are and whether or not they're legitimate Triple Crown type contenders is another story.
Yeah, Studley Do-Right has experience, and I think in these situations, experience goes a long way. He's also accomplished a lot. He's done well. He's run nice numbers. He's run different distances, different racetracks. He's just the most seasoned of all of these horses in here. I'm not crazy about betting on him in a spot like this because he doesn't make me warm and fuzzy at the price I think he's going to be. I think there's probably some other opportunities in here. Unfortunately, I wanted to get excited about betting Georgia Magic, but his figure is just entirely too slow for me to latch onto.
Things can change quickly, though, start to start. This is start number 2 for him. Could take a big leap forward.
He was Ray Handel's, quote, Derby horse before his debut, and after the race, I texted Ray and said, I don't think you should take the Oklahoma Derby off the table at this point, but he is going to have to get faster.
See what happens. That is race 8, 3:39 Eastern start time for that Jerome as we take a look at the road to the Twin Spires through New York. Jerome today, Withers February 1st when the points up to 20 for first. Gotham, 50 points to the winner to get into that Derby starting gate. And then the big one, the Wood Memorial, April 5th. Final prep here in New York for that first Saturday in May with 100 points to the winner, guaranteeing your spot in that starting gate. It is going to be fun. It all begins today, or today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. New York and Oaklawn, races 7 through 9. We're 7 minutes away from that 7th at Aqueduct. We're fast at both tracks, and Oaklawn will bring you races 5 through 10. We have the Mockingbird as well for 3-year-old fillies, which we look forward to. You can play all the action by getting signed up started with Naira Bets. Play it all road long to the Derby and beyond. Get that $200 deposit match new customer bonus when you punch in that code at sign up, bonus 200. And bet any track, anywhere, anytime, right there at NairaBets.com. So the race that precedes the Jerome, 6.5 furlong sprint in this New York-bred first-level allowance race. And Andy, right now it is the 4 evaluation, who looks so good first time out for Chad Brown, and then was a flop in her second start.
And the betting public is treading lightly with this one, Jonathan. I think it's one where the morning line maker made the horse 9-5, knowing full well she could go off at 4-5, but maybe she'd be lukewarm. And I think, Jonathan, right now, she's a little lukewarm. She's barely favored over the number 3 in doubles.
Well, the tricky part for me is how fast she ran on debut and how poorly she ran coming back at odds on. Obviously something a miss, right? Something went wrong. She didn't run hasn't run since August. But I think that's why people are probably a little bit leery about jumping on her.
You know, it's interesting. Her first race, she was on a rail that was the place to be. There's an argument the second day she ran, the rail was not the place to be. On the other hand, to be out 4 months after that effort says it was more than just a rail, but she is back now, and she's the horse to beat, and she may be the horse to catch up front, or at least stalking the one.
Well, here's the good version, JK, of evaluation in that debut.
Yeah, I mean, look, Andy kind of laid it out there. If race one, this one, she was where she wanted to be, and she ran well, then she comes back and isn't where she wanted to be and runs poorly, with a little bit of obviously some sort of an issue that leads to the time off. It's just kind of a guessing game now, which version of you're going to get. And I just don't think guessing at 9-5 makes a lot of sense.
And I think one of the things about maiden breakers, and this is true for all trainers, you see it all the time. How many times have you seen a horse break its maiden first time out with a flashy fig and never, ever come back to run close to it again? And that's what you see. So you never really know. The good horses are the ones that go on with it. But a lot of horses run that big race first time, and they're just not very good the rest of their careers.
From this barn, though, you don't expect to see that.
You would,
as
but
much.
You never really know. And I did pick her, and I think she's much the worst to beat, but I'm not going to tell you I'm super confident that she's going to win.
The other positive is there's been 3 horses that come out of that race and win. So the debut race, which makes you feel a little bit better about that performance. And also, I think that the poor performance, I'm okay turning the page there as well because of the break afterwards. Makes me think that she didn't run poorly because she's not very good.
Maybe a hiccup, and that's why she went to the bench.
Why she went to the bench.
She also lost to a good horse that day, to be fair, but she did run badly.
Here's our post break. We'll start with a long shot on the rail, Fabulous Fox.
Yeah, Fabulous Fox may show speed in here, but it's hard to make her fast enough to win this race.
Romero Mirage will ride. Valentine Gift, the 2, as Eric Cancel for Bobby Robato.
Yeah, she came running last time first when switching to the dirt, but she got some pace to close into.
It's a 5-time winner, majority of them at Finger Lakes, Embraceable Gal.
Everybody seems to like her as the alternative. She better break better than she did last time, though she ran okay after the break, but how well did she really run?
Evaluation, is she as good as that debut? Can she improve?
She's tricky. She's got a lot of reasons to believe that she is what she did on debut, but at this short price, I just feel like I got to look elsewhere.
Ariana Raya has shown talent. She comes off a win.
She was sort of in control in a race that was to her benefit last time. My problem is her good racer on the front end, and I don't see her making the lead here.
Annie works too much. It was a good effort at Parks.
She's certainly going to be involved from a pace standpoint, but I think that's about it.
Nolita. She was in that Embraceable Gal race last start, finished 4th.
If you take her off her last year's form, she's kind of the horse to beat, the other horse, but her form has declined significantly.
And Granadia, when she was still a maiden, she was 3rd behind Evaluation in that big debut.
All of her races, from a figure standpoint, feel very similar. She has to get faster. I don't see where that improvement comes from.
I think one of the things that makes her interesting in this race, and I don't like her either, I agree with everything you said, is that she potentially has the speed to speed it up more with the 1 and 4. I don't know if the 5 and 6 are fast enough to compete with them. If a third horse goes, that heats of the pace, but I wonder if they rate Granadia since she won rating last time.
Well, here is Evaluation, the 9-5 favorite. As we check in with Maggie Wolfendale, what are you seeing from her now off this 4-month layoff?
Well, Greg, when I saw her first time out, looking back through my notes, sometimes these horses who have only run twice and then they go on a layoff, you got to jog your memory a little bit. I had written beautifully put together. I really, really liked her. And today I can't apply the same phrases that I did first time out to her. And there's reason to like her because if she, gets it within sniffing distance of her first race, she's very much the horse to beat. But she runs her subsequent start, yeah, that's a problem. Obviously, there was a problem out of the race. But she just looks very weak across her top line, very weak in her hind end. And 2, she was very aggressive and really wanted to go out there and do it that day. And today, she's very quiet. She's gotten a brisk warm-up from Manny Franco, which you like to see, which is a good thing. It's just all those things that pushed me in a different direction, especially at such a short price. And I can't say I'm that enthralled to take Embraceable Gal here, but I'm going to take her. She looks phenomenal. Overall, this is a mare that, it's January, it's freezing cold. She looks like it's the middle of July and it's 80 degrees out. She's dappled. Her coat is so rich and hydrated. She's well muscled. She's super confident. But as Andy pointed out, her problem is getting out of the gate. And as I always say, horses for confidence, but as Andy pointed out, her problem is getting out of the gate. And as I always say, horses
Apologies, some technical difficulties there with Maggie's mic. We'll see if we can get her back in a moment. In the meantime, price getting even shorter on evaluation.
You know, there's really nothing wrong with Maggie's mic, but this is her first day this year, so we decided to fool around with her a little bit and see how mad we can make her.
A little hazing,
race.
Maggie. Yeah, first day back
Get
in
over
2025.
I'm not in charge of
do that.
I'm not in charge of it. I'm not competent enough to be in charge of anything like that.
So 3-2 on evaluation. You guys had brought up, though, Embraceable Gal. For many, and I know a lot of handicappers, yes, seem to like this 5-year-old mare. What is there to like about her?
Well, she ran well last time after getting left, and she's kind of the right closer. I mean, if you don't trust the 4, you're looking for somebody to close, I would guess, though you like the 5, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for speed. If I'm going to look elsewhere, I looked to try to find a horse that could take advantage from a pace standpoint. And for me, it felt like the 5, Ariana Rye.
One thing I'd say about Embraceable Gal is she got left last time. We saw Win It earlier, who was favored, knock it out of the gate again. You have to be careful about horses that have trouble getting out of the gate. It's often not a one-off.
For him has been a career-long issue. Quickly, let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, totally hazing me today, guys. Thanks. I just want to put out Ariana Rye, who looks better than I've ever seen her. She behaved herself today, which is something she doesn't often do. So maybe that last race was an indication that she's heading in the right direction. I don't love her in this spot, but I do think she'll run well.
We are set for the 7th. Jerome is next on the road to the first Saturday in May. First things first, fillies and mares 4 and up in this spot, and evaluation. Can she get back to that brilliant debut for Chad Brown? She's the favorite, the 4. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
One of the horses in the gate still. Embraceable Gal, rider off. Kendra Carmouche. Maybe backing this rudder up. They have backed the 3 out. Kendrick getting back aboard. Kendra Carmouche, Embraceable Gal. Gonna reload. In. Grenadilla. Moves forward. And in. All set. And they're off. Grenadilla breaks well from the far outside, has early speed. Fabulous Fox is in that early mix. Ariana Rye and Annie Works Too Much wants to join these early leaders. 4 across the racetrack early. Evaluation, and Manny Franco is going to tuck right in behind. Is going to sit in 5th. Is followed to the outside by Nolita. Second to last is Embraceable Gal in the trailer. Valentine Gift, and they speed up the backstretch. It's Annie Works Too Much with a head in front. Grenadilla, these two pressure one another, and a pace stool on the front end. Evaluation is moving up. Is now taken 3rd. Is to the outside of Ariana Rye. Then went 23-1 for that opening quarter mile. Out wider is Nolita, is ready to swarm, is going to be 4 wide in between horses. Fabulous Fox, who took off that early heat. Embraceable Gal is under a snug hold, is moving up and passing rivals as well. In the trailer, still Valentine Gift. They're well into the far turn, approaching a quarter mile left to go. Grenadilla is still there. Annie Works Too Much is backed up to 4th, and here comes the move from Evaluation in between horses. Evaluation ready to kick on. Up on the far outside, Nolita. Fabulous Fox is looking for room in behind horses. Annie Works Too Much is trying to get back into it. Embraceable Gal. Ariana Rye. Grandstand side has got momentum too. Here's Nolita, who's trying to kick away. Ariana Rye is picking up rivals quickly. Embraceable Gal still in that mix. Ariana Rye with a lot of momentum. Nolita is approaching the final 16th. Ariana Rye trying to push on by. Way out there, it's Ariana Rye. Nolita down to these 2. Nolita fights back, is not done. Nolita gets it. Nolita in that photo with Ariana Rye. Then came Embraceable Gal, who finished 3rd. Final running time, 1:21 seconds flat.
Nolita with the win for Bill Mott. Jose Lezcano, and got an assist from Embraceable Gal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 5 was best, in my opinion. You never know what was going to happen. The 5 looked like the 5 had momentum to win. And late in the stretch, Andy, you'll see the 3 kind of come out a little bit, bump the 5, stop a little momentum. Nice race from the 7, but I think the 5 was best.
I think that's fair to say, and maybe she would have won if that hadn't happened. What's interesting is twofold by the 5, and we'll get to the 7 in a second, is that this is a complete change of running style for her, and it almost worked. So that's an indication, as Maggie said, maybe she has turned the corner. I would argue, though, if you're taking this race apart, the 7 ran the best race, because this race incinerated in the stretch. I mean, it looked like the favorite was cruising. This horse moved early. She hasn't run a good race in a year. She actually made an early move in here, assumed the lead top of the stretch, and kind of made the move that broke the race open. So I think she ran a better race than the 5, even though I don't disagree that maybe the 5 could have won if that didn't happen.
Green cap, black gloves, and you're going to see this one right there come out and make contact and impede the progress of Ariana Rai, the 5, who winds up second.
Yeah, I'd want to watch the Pam because, I mean, to be fair, Jonathan, she got there. It's not like she didn't get there, the 7. She did kind of hang at the end, didn't she?
Well, yeah, but I think that maybe you could argue that the bump made her kind of have to lose a little momentum, take a little out of her, have to kind of restart, and that's the reason why she hung. Yeah, I wouldn't say that she didn't necessarily kind of hang, but I think there's probably a reason that she did so.
Nolita 7-1, an upset on a pick 6 carryover Saturday afternoon. We'll have the prices. Get to the Jerome when we come back. Meanwhile, the Smarty Jones. Brad Cox, is this his new hot prospect, hot property? Looked like the goods in the debut, going a mile and a 16th at Fairgrounds. Now comes the first try against winners. Back with you on America's Day of the Races on Fox Sports 2. That is where you can play all the action at Naira Bets. Get signed up, started. Bonus 200, that code to use for new members. Get that $200 deposit match. Sign up bonus. It's Nolita. Jose Lezcano dressed for this chilly winter weather. riding here for Bill Mott and returned $17.60 for the win.
And I think the nice thing for her is that it's the first time she's run a decent race in basically a year. And kind of watching a replay with one eye here, Jonathan, your 5 ran very well in the constant race because she was involved in the pace for pretty much close to the first quarter before dropping back. And she was inside, which may not be the best place to be today. It's hard to tell for sure. So she sort of ran remarkably considering the way the race played out, you know?
Yeah.
She didn't rate, she dropped out.
I think when folks watch the replay back, she got
She's
shuffled
last
out
now.
of there.
She's
Yeah,
last
she got
now.
shuffled out of there.
Yeah.
Here we go. Road to the Kentucky Derby, first points prep race of 2025. In this, Jerome and Studley Do-Right, who we talked about at the top of the program, already a dual stakes winner, won the Nashua a couple of starts ago. If he can get back to that performance, is that easily good enough to win here?
Yeah, I think his Nashua is too fast for these horses unless somebody steps forward. There's no doubt about it. The other thing about these races is we don't need to kid anybody. Either of these preps, they're not likely to produce the Derby winner. But everybody wants to find out where my horse belongs. Is this a horse I want to press forward on the Triple Crown Trail, or do I need to take a lesser route? And that's what these races are about, finding out if you belong.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. You talk about that Nashua performance, Wolfie, and yes, if he runs that, he's probably best. The tricky thing and the exciting thing about these 3-year-old races is that they can change, and these horses can improve, and the added distance sometimes can wake them up and get a number that they've never run before. That's what makes them so interesting.
But, I mean, how many races have we seen, too, over time where we said this race will not produce the Kentucky Derby winner?
Well, only one race is going to. Well, maybe a couple
No,
of
but
races
yeah,
are going to. But yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes
Yeah.
you look at races, you think
never
they're
know.
kind of weaker, and they turn out to be good races, and vice versa. Sometimes we think races are really good, and they turn out to sort of stink.
Meanwhile, the Derby prep out at Oaklawn to kick off this 3-year-old series, the Smarty Jones mile and a 16th. Hot Property looked very good first time out for trainer Brad Cox. Let's send it out to Hot Springs with Lafitte Pinkai and Paula Duca for more.
Yeah, Greg, between now and the first Saturday in May, 4 important Kentucky Derby prep races right here at Oaklawn Park. This is the first, the Smarty Jones, Paul. A Smarty Jones that we may look at a little bit differently now based on just recent productivity.
Yeah, listen, the purse structure has just changed everything, and better horses have come down here, and it seems like Brad Cox has been the beneficiary. Now, we'll see what happens this year. He'll have probably the favorite when they spring the latch and patch Property, but you look back to Angel of Empire, Catching Freedom. Angel of Empire was your Derby favorite. Catching Freedom was 2 lengths away from winning the Derby. So, yeah, it's been a productive race.
Hot Property, 8-5 morning line favorite, just the one career start. Why is he considered the colt to beat going in?
Well, I think connections. Number one, it's Brad Cox, right? And this horse did win very easily first time out. The hardest thing to do in racing is to face winners for the first time. So today, he's going to face some horses that have a little bit more seasoning than him. We'll see how polished he really is. He was not favored on this day. He got everything his own way. I don't think he's going to get everything his own way, especially with Peter Miller's charge, Kale's Angel on the inside, who is particularly, I think, a lot faster than him, at least early, but we'll see what happens late.
The right people in his corner, star jockey Flavien Prat, shattering records left and right, and trainer Brad Cox looking to capture a 4th Smarty Jones in the last 5 years, but Brad Cox has not won a race at the meet.
Has not won a race at the meet, 0 for 15, 0 for 16, I think, as the print of the racing form. It's just been a little bit unlucky. He had a horse that really rolled late yesterday that didn't get home, but it's only a matter of time. And I haven't seen his presence here. When his presence shows up, his horses usually win.
Foresee it, how he shows up in the Smarty Jones as the favorite. Hot Property. Then down towards the inside, the very quick Kale's Angel coming in here. We saw him on opening day in the Advent in his dirt debut. Impressive victory on opening day. What do you expect from him this afternoon?
I expect another good effort. I think a lot of people think, okay, this horse is, can he go the distance to ground? Well, I think, Peter Miller, after a couple turf races, did go to the Zuma Beach going long, okay? So he obviously thought this horse could stretch out, and he tried it again. And, when it's a one-race experience, you think, okay. But then after this effort, and I told you, he beat Innovator. Now, Innovator came back and did win. But Kale's Angel, I haven't seen Peter Miller here in the 3 years. I arrived here, December 6th was opening day. I arrived here on December 3rd. He was schooling that horse on December 3rd with his hat on, his always famous hat that he always has on. And he looked at me and he said, listen, I know this horse is only run on the turf, but he's been working like a freak over the dirt. And I will tell you right now, if they let him go early on the front end and get loose, he might be tough to catch.
Smarty Jones' first local step towards the Arkansas Derby. That series here, the 4 races. You know about the Derby points, right? How horses qualify to earn a spot in the Kentucky Derby starting gate, Paulie. But as you look at some of the notable alum and horses that have exited this race, it's not just going on and having success in an Arkansas Derby or a Kentucky Derby, Paulie, but horses like Will Take Charge, Caleb's Posse, Flat Out, other horses who ran on in these Smarty Jones and went on to bigger and better beyond.
Yeah,
Triple
some
Crown.
cool horses there. Will Take Charge was a really nice horse. Caleb's Posse ended up turning out to be a great one-turn sprinter towards the end of his career, too. So, yeah, some notable horses, and hopefully we'll see another one of these beautiful horses, or at least going forward towards this whole little series they got here at Oaklawn.
18th running of the Smarty Jones, the featured event, 3-year-olds race number 9 on the Saturday program. Meantime, horses on track nearing post time for the 5th Arkansas-bred maidens, 6 furlong sprint. You heard me right, Arkansas-bred maidens and a $110,000 purse with the favorite drawn inside $2 Eddie at 5-2, Paul, who graduates on a day thus far that has been all about the unexpected.
Yeah, we just had a dead heat the race before with a 24-1 shot. It's been a lot of prices here. Now, $2 Eddie for Greg Compton, a horse that's been coming off a little bit of a layoff, but has a bullet drill coming in. The money is going there. I landed on the 5 horse in here.
There you go.
You know, Randy Morse and getting Lasix, a lot of these horses are, but this horse is getting Lasix, obviously a 4-year-old, draws Christian Tormes, and you just can't, not like a horse called Jimmy.
Just Jimmy. Just Jimmy. And the fact is, look, he didn't run a yard in his debut, but he was bet.
Yes.
He was bet. 6-1 at post time, and yes, the presence of leading rider and 2-time defending Oaklawn champion jockey Christian Torres.
Yeah, I think that horse has got to look. I think the 1's got to look. The 2 would be my long shot. You know, Robert Klein doesn't, has a big barn Arkansas breds. They stuck this horse in the Rainbow, last year for Colts and Geldings too. And then I can't go amiss without Devil's Fork. I know ASU and the Big 12 commissioner are still asking for answers, but the Devil's Fork is taking some money here for John Ortiz. I think the 4 and the 5 are very live in this spot.
Burlsworth quickly for trainer Ron Moquette, still looking for that knockout punch. Rafael Bejarano a couple of wins yesterday.
Yeah, Ron Moquette had a horse at 1-2 lose earlier. I just got to wait for the barn to heat up before I'd play.
5-2 co-favorites, number 8 Burlsworth and $2 Eddie drawn inside. Matt Dinnerman with the load and call post time, race 5 Oaklawn on Smarty Jones Saturday in Hot Springs.
Post position 5. Still working with get away with it, just about in. Now he's in. Jimmy goes forward. Couple more runners to load here. Baby Nova has gone in. Mr. Butch to post position number 12. Into the outside post, cruising control to round out the field. Waiting for cruising control. Arkansas bred maiden special weight runners here, a full field of 12, dashing 6 furlongs. Pretty contentious betting board amongst the favorites. Cruising control and also eligible. Drawing into the race with the scratch of number 6, working with him to load in. Cruising control. Still working with cruising control. Cruising control goes in. We're ready to go. And we're off. Uneventful beginning. Burlsworth away alertly, strides in front with $2 Eddie from the inside rushing forward to be part of the pace. $2 Eddie has the lead from Burlsworth, and Baby Nova the Gray running in third. Ranch Hand in fourth with Jimmy, who splits horses. Get Away With It is 3 deep on the course, a gap of 2 to another line of 3. Mr. Butch is outside of Devil's Fork and God's Country. They're 2 better than Paramount Paycheck. Getting shuffled back here is Cruising Control second to last, and that leaves Viney, the first-time starter, well behind as they go into the far turn. $2 Eddie goes off as the 5-2 favorite, strings them out, leads a length and a half from Burlsworth, who sent after him from second. Big space of 5 to Get Away With It, claiming the third position under a ride, moving forward just a bit here as they come to the top of the lane. The others are well out of it, top of the stretch, and $2 Eddie has the lead. The margin's a length. Burlsworth on the outside, right there, still battling. Get Away With It, 5 behind in third. Furlong to go. $2 Eddie with the lead. Burlsworth on the outside, reeling him in. These two together. Burlsworth on the outside. $2 Eddie stubborn from the rail. Burlsworth has a nose in front of $2 Eddie coming to the finish, and Burlsworth will prevail. Burlsworth breaks the bait, and $2 Eddie second best in a very good effort. Big space back to God's Country, and Mr. Butch third and fourth.
He figured out how to finish today. Burlsworth, relentless run, finally puts away $2 Eddie in the 5th at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, this was a good run by Burlsworth because $2 Eddie had it his own way, and you know, it always seems like Rafael Bejarano has something left. I was completely wrong about this horse, but you go back and you look, and the 2 races were very good and just missed last year in March at this level. These 2 colts were by far, geldings by far, the best in the race.
Favorites lock up. Burlsworth gets the best of $2 Eddie, 8-1, 7-12 in the 5th at Oaklawn. To Maggie in the paddock. Horses in the paddock for the Jerome. Maggie.
Yeah, Liffy, we're kicking off the road to the Kentucky Derby right here, right now at the Big A, as we'll check in with the horse who is taking on some stiffer competition here in only his 2nd start, but he was highly regarded in that debut. That's number 5 in here, Georgia Magic, who actually was meant to debut a couple weeks prior to that, but was a late scratch for, well, getting loose and acting out quite severely. 2nd start, Ray Handel, his trainer, was on his head, on his offside, making sure that this guy got to post with his rider and safely. Same thing today, again, but while he is aggressive, he just seems so much more focused. Like the light bulb's going on. He knows what his job is. And yes, he was awarded a very low figure for that debut. But the 2nd place finisher, while not winning, came back and ran 18 points faster. And the 3rd place finisher, again, without winning, but running 2nd, ran 22 points faster. So I feel like we can elevate that race just a bit. Now, with regards to him stretching out in distance, he is bred to. Being a son of Good Magic, physically, he looks as though he should do so. And I like the way he kept finding, albeit in a slower race, first time out. I just worry about his demeanor. Is he a little too aggressive, a little too free with trying to step out and stretch out in only his 2nd start? Next, we'll take a look at a horse who I really like going the distance, and that's number 3, I Can, for Rick Dutrow. Now, his first start at Naira, he was wired by Cyclone State after falling to his face and then getting slammed on either side. So not an ideal beginning to that race for I Can, but he was able to pick himself up and rally while wide in the stretch behind Cyclone State, who got things his own way on the front end. I like what I'm seeing from this horse, and I really, truly, Greg, feel as though he's one that's going to benefit with the more ground added. I know he's trying a mile for the 2nd time, but with a clean start, he should be right there.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. Different break could be a completely different story for the 3 I Can.
Well, sure. Obviously, stumbling last time hurt him. Whether or not he was going to win, I don't really know. I'm not a huge fan of the horse that beat him, who's the number 6 near Cyclone State, but I tend to agree with you. If I was going to take one of the 2, I'd take Icon.
3-1 right now. 2nd choice on the board for the Rick Dutrow Jr. barn. Manny Franco getting a leg up. As we get set for our post parade to come, but all this money, and again, big scratch, McAfee coming out, who would have likely been the favorite in here. That makes Studley do right, the 9-5 favorite.
You know who McAfee's sister is? Torpedo,
Indeed.
Anna. I said it just so I pronounce it
brother.
correctly, so you'd be proud.
the
I think
first
this
time
is
on the show.
an interesting race because, you know, there are horses like the 4 who got some pace last time but really improved. Manzetti, who I'm interested in trying the dirt for the first time. I think there's a lot of sort of intrigue inside this race.
Here is Enduring Spirit to kick off the Jerome Post Parade.
Looks like the inside speed in a day where that might not be beneficial, and has 1 fast race and 4 not good.
Manzetti, first time on dirt, coming from north of the border.
Yeah, this is the interesting one. Has speed, has a style you'd like, just hasn't run on the dirt yet.
I can for Rick Dutrow Jr.
Yeah, we just talked about this horse. Improved a lot last time out from a speed figure standpoint. Can he take another step forward?
Omaha has put together back-to-back wins out of town.
Yeah, terrible trip last time. Broke slowly. Did come running late.
Georgia Magic won the debut, but a slowish time.
Yeah, that's the problem. It wasn't fast, and there's other speed today.
Cyclone State has put together back-to-back wins on the front end.
Yeah, it's been getting easy leads in the last 2 starts, too. Doesn't project to get that here.
And the Nashua winner here is Studley Do Right from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, he draws very well. He can put himself in a good position. There seems like there's pace in this race. He's a very logical horse, and he's the horse to beat.
And he was precocious early as well. Won the first 2 starts of his career, including the Tremont. To get an 82 buyer in June as a 2-year-old.
I'm not even sure his Remsen can't win this race. I just think he's very logical. I didn't pick him on top. I picked him second. But I don't know why you would knock him in here because he's the one horse that's done things. I mean, the horses that could benefit from fast pace are he, Suddenly Do Right, and the 4 Omaha. And maybe to a lesser extent Icon, though he's not that slow.
Well, the thing that I notice here is he's run in more stakes races than anyone else has run in races, right? I mean, Cyclone State's run in 6 races as well. I mean, the experience that he has goes a very long way in spots like this.
He's running more stakes races than the rest of the field combined have been in stakes races.
Yeah, it's
huge experience edge.
100%.
Meanwhile, you brought up, when we saw the post parade, the interesting horse. And Manzetti, Andy, first time on dirt, first time here in New York on the circuit coming in from Woodbine. We'll see what we get from him.
He's a son of Collected, and Collected's been a very efficient synthetic sire, so no surprise he handled it. But he's also an effective dirt sire, and if you look through the dam, I mean, there's some turf, there's dirt. It doesn't really suggest horse can handle it, but I think more important to that, Woodbine, while it's a synthetic racetrack, they have a dirt training track. He trained on the dirt training track, if you look back about 4 works, and he must have worked well enough for them to ship down and take a shot, once again for them, trying to find out what they've got. Can he run in the dirt? Should we be pressing forward? Do we need to go to Turfway if we want to try to be successful for him? Is he not good enough? Do we want to wait? This is the time that you find out where your horses belong, so why not take a shot here?
And his synthetic figure puts him in the mix here. And so if you can imagine that he's going to appreciate a little added distance and he's going to appreciate the dirt, and he moves up off of that figure, he's going to be right there at 7-1.
And look, 3 sprints on synthetic. He's been forwardly placed, if not on the lead, in most or all of them. Is he the one who's going to be in front here?
No. I mean, the pace projector from time for him has the 5 and 6, 1, 2. So I think he's going to have to take back, and I'm happy to have him take back, but it concerns me that he may be a horse that has sprint speed, and now he's got to stretch out, and he's not going to get the trip that he's had his other starts. So he's going to have to adapt to a new circumstance. But I don't mind betting him at 7-1. I don't mind taking a shot at a price. I would never bet him at 7-2 or 3-1. But in this race with so many variables, I don't mind taking a small shot.
So the unknown for Manzetti. First time on a dirt surface in this Kentucky Derby prep here in the Jerome. Let's go back down to Maggie.
Yeah, guys, going to take a look here at number 2, Manzetti here, trying the dirt for the first time. Now, there was a half sibling who was a California bred stakes winner on the dirt, and there's been horses who handle it. Now, looking at him, I don't see that much, reason to doubt that he should be okay on the surface because, honestly, there's a lot of muscle mass to him. Sometimes you worry about these horses being a little bit weaker than their proven dirt counterparts. Not the case. He looks great here, shipping in for Kevin Attard. And same thing with number 4, Omaha. Ironically, this is the first time this horse is ever going to go around 1 turn. He has been exclusively going 2 turns, whether it's turf or dirt, and he kind of looks that way. He's very long, very rangy. He does have that way of going about him that suggests that he's a bit more of a kind of big loping type of plotter. So I'm not sure that this 1 turn mile plays into his strengths, Greg.
A nod to Peyton Manning, of course, who made that audible so famous. Omaha, 7-1 on the 4, trying to win his 3rd in a row.
You know, you saying that to me is like when I bring up these ridiculously esoteric things from 25 years ago that there's no possible way you could know about.
You don't remember hearing Omaha every Peyton Manning game you watched?
I do know Peyton Manning was a quarterback, but also because I knew his brother played for the Giants. Sorry.
9-5 favorite.
Stealing my pick.
Studley Do-Right. And there's Omaha stepping into the gate. 7-1. First try on this New York circuit for him. Studley Do-Right, Nashua winner, trying to make it 2 stakes wins the last 3 starts here in New York. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the first race on the road to the Derby here in 2025 from New York.
Studley Do-Right. Goes in. All set for the Jerome. And they're off. Good speed towards the inside from Mansetti, and Mansetti is right there with the early fray. And at the rail, here's Enduring Spirit. It's now going to join these early leaders. Cyclone State up on the outside, and Cyclone State, free running, now puts ahead in front. It's Cyclone State and Enduring Spirit. They're going to be 1-2 as they come out of the chute. Georgia Magic, Romero Mirage is right there in 3rd. It's a snug hold on Mansetti. Ican's in a tough spot, is in 5th, wants to go, is just held back in, is going to hold that 5th position. Out wider, Studley Do-Right is in the clear. Very tightly bunched on the front end. And the trailer, that's Omaha. 23.43 in Cyclone State. Now lets it out, and Cyclone State is up by a full 2 lengths, and Cyclone State says, let's go right now. Cyclone State is up by 2. There's Mansetti, who now moves through, is taking a clear second. So they've got less than a half mile to go. 47-1 for a half mile time. Studley Do-Right is going to be 3 wide. Ican is right there in 4th. Georgia Magic is trying to pick it up from the back. Here's the rally from Omaha as Enduring Spirit starts to drop back. The leader is Cyclone State. It's Cyclone State is still doing it very nicely and is in hand. Cyclone State, Luis Rivera Jr., they are 5 lengths in front with a quarter mile left to go. It is Cyclone State who's well clear and trying to run away with the Jerome right now. Cyclone State is now 8 lengths in front and pouring it on. Omaha on the grandstand side. Ican is trying to run on Studley Do-Right inside the final furlong. Cyclone State is all alone. It's Cyclone State for a final 16th. Cyclone State's almost there. Cyclone State will win the Jerome. Cyclone State wins it. Omaha up for second. Ican is in a photo with Studley Do-Right in 1:40.82 seconds.
3 in a row for Cyclone State. He takes the Jerome on the road to the Derby for trainer Chad Summers with Luis Rivera Jr.
And all the riders had convinced themselves that there was no speed. There's too much speed in the race. I don't want to be inside. And Luis Rivera said, I don't care. I got the speed. I'm going. You don't want to go? He went down to the inside. Apparently there's nothing wrong with the rail. And this horse just absolutely buried the field. He buried anybody that tried to chase him, because the horse that was coming at the end to finish second, John, there was a mile back early.
Yeah, horses like this are tricky for me, like horses that get easy leads and back-to-back starts and then run off the screen like they do here, because you'd like to think that they ran so well in the previous starts because of the situation. Well, they make their own situation from time to time. You find a way to put yourself on the front end, and you end up working out trips like this. And this horse ran well in here today. I didn't like the horse before. It's not like I'm gonna go fly to Vegas to bet the horse in the Derby future, but
Much the best today.
absolutely.
Much the best.
And meanwhile, Omaha was about a mile out of it early. It looked like he was not going to be running at all.
Well, look at the horses.
Winds up getting second.
Look at the horses that were near the pace, right? My 2-horse, Jonathan's 2-horse. We both thought we were live around the turn. That horse packed it in at the top of the stretch. The 7, Studley Do-Right, who we know has decent form. He was stalking in a perfect spot in the outside. He had absolutely nothing. He was 4th because the 3 behind him did absolutely no running. The reality of this race was that it collapsed behind Cyclone State. So he did the hefty work on the front end, and he buried the field. I mean, he was tons the best today.
We got a Derby prep honoring a Pennsylvania bred who won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown back in 2004. Now we got an Iowa bred potentially on the Derby trail after this performance.
So if not this Derby, there's always the Iowa Derby, a big homecoming for him.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think it's important to point out another McKenzie. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I did not have that bingo card for McKenzie to have the start that he had, and he's been having. I think our friends in Gainesway are probably happy about that.
6, 4, 3, 7. It is Cyclone State. Yes, the Iowa bred Victorious in the Jerome collects 10 points to get into that Kentucky Derby starting gate to kick off the 2025 Road to the Kentucky Derby here on FS2.
Spun to Run. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more, and he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Now, this multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, and Breeders' Cup champion is passing his remarkable talent along to his progeny.
Night Beacon airs at the home of Spun to Run's Breeders' Cup victory.
Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
Idiomatic in front, 16th to go in the Juddmonte Colors. Florent Giroux aboard. Idiomatic to win the Grade 1 Juddmonte Spinster.
Idiomatic is taking the lead. Clippier trying to squeeze through, but it's going to be Idiomatic to win.
And Idiomatic just opens back up here with every stride. No catching. Idiomatic winning the Juddmonte Spinster for Florent Giroux.
Curlin, the classic sire.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races, and it's Cyclone State collecting some Derby qualifying points here in the Jerome. Just opens up on this field, and now it's 3 victories in a row for this 3-year-old son of McKenzie for trainer Chad Summers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we didn't like this horse, and we could not have been more wrong. He was way the best horse in this race.
When you say we, you're saying you and Jonathan.
I know you didn't like him either. You just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
I didn't hear you bring him up.
A lot of times, there's 2 different ways for horses like this to beat you if you don't like them. One is for them to kind of get fortunate and to just kind of snap you at the wire. This horse ran off the screen. It's a different type of wrong.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I think you may have been saying, when you're dealing with races like that are Derby preps, and whether or not it's a Kentucky Derby horse is another story, you want horses to win. Do you say the best horse won this race? You want to feel afterwards like, I don't know, there were a lot of things now. That horse got lucky. This horse did not get lucky. This horse destroyed the field.
Here's Luis Rivera Jr. getting the hardware. And, obviously this was at a mile. The bigger preps, the more important preps, they will be, obviously a mile and 16th, a mile and an 1/8. Derby, of course, a mile and a quarter. What about the runner-up in here? It was so far back early when he gets more ground. I know it doesn't always equate to running down horses, but do you think that could help him?
No, because he's never going to get that much of a fast pace. I think he got a quick pace to go in here. And keep in mind the connections this horse had Cyberknife a few years ago. And as I recall, he was a pretty good 3-year-old.
Yes, he was. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here with winning trainer Chad Summers in Cyclone State. Chad rattling off 3 wins in a row, all in similar fashion. A horse that just really dominates, and he just seems so uber confident on the front end again today.
Yeah, he likes being in front. It's kind of what we always thought. We were prepared in case we had to come off the pace, and obviously Enduring Spirit showed a little speed there, kind of coming up the inside. But he just loves to run. He loves what he does, and Louis Rivera's got all the confidence in the world in him, and I think the horse kind of senses that as Louis on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2, we've seen such a breakout freshman crop from McKenzie. I know you're heavily involved in purchasing these horses. What did you think about McKenzie overall, and obviously him when you purchased him?
Well, he had about 85 horses in the Keeneland September set that year. I felt like every horse that was bred to McKenzie was in their book 1, book 2, book 3. This was a book 4 horse. And, we just always thought they were athletic. We thought they were going to be 2-turn horses. And so we weren't discouraged. It took a few starts for him to break his maiden, but we kind of always felt the further they went, the better it would be. He's a big kind of athletic, scopy horse that he should get better as the distances go on. And, we're excited about that.
Are you going to continue down the road here to Kentucky Derby?
Look, that's we'll get together with the ownership group. I mean, I'm so thankful for Gold Square and obviously George and Michael, and it's their first stakes win. So happy for them. And we won this race last year with drum roll, please. So it's great for Gold Square. But look, there's a lot of things to consider. We'll probably get him down to Florida after this, just get out of the cold. But certainly he likes Aqueduct, and we like Aqueduct too.
Excellent. Well, congratulations with this Jerome win.
Thanks so much. Love you, Andy.
Andy.
Little love for Mr. Sherling. Weather
Little love.
doesn't
The
feel...
guy trashes me all over the internet. I should trash him as much as he trashes me. He wouldn't like it. I'm just used to it.
When you win races like this, the cold's not nearly as cold, is it?
Yeah, and you know what? It's not as warm when you go to Florida. They don't run as well either.
It's true. Prospects of this horse going for we got to learn more, obviously, but this was impressive at a mile. How do you view how he finished up the race?
Well, I mean, they went a quick enough pace. John, it's hard when the tracks get so slow like this, and I haven't paid enough attention to the times earlier to suggest he's going to have to run figures over 90 to say that he's a horse that even now you want to consider as a Derby-type horse, but that doesn't take away from running well today, and he had a right to get tired, right?
Of course, and here's the thing that's going to happen with Cyclone State. He's going to end up in spots in which he's going to be running with horses that can run 90, 95 figures, looking him in the eye all the way around there. And that's the biggest problem. And if he turns into one of those horses, then he'll be competitive. I don't think that was a 90 figure.
No, it doesn't feel like it was.
So
I feel
we'll
it's a couple seconds faster than slower races. But that doesn't take away from how well he ran today. And at least in this case, he was a decisive winner of this race.
Enjoyed the moment for this horse and maybe even bigger, better things to come, but that was impressive with the Jerome. No question for this Iowa-bred Cyclone State. With that victory still to come, more on the road to the Kentucky Derby. With a Smarty Jones from Hot Springs, Arkansas, cold battle. Can he step up? Coming off back-to-back wins, trying to win a third stake in a row, a third different racetrack. Stay with us.
Catching Freedom on the far outside, Informed Patriot getting bumped around at the rail. Jess Steele in front. Inside Mystic Dan back to second, and Catching Freedom is finding his best stride now. And Catching Freedom and Christian Torres racing clear. He kicks off his year with 10 Kentucky Derby points.
Happy New Year, Catching Freedom. Last year, Smarty Jones, and for some in the field, it was just the beginning, Paul. The 1, 2, 5 finishers would all run in the Kentucky Derby, included a colt by the name of Mystic Dan.
Yeah, it just shows you the horse that ran 5th was the one that won the Kentucky Derby. But Catching Freedom did not disgrace himself at all in the Derby, as well as he was 4th there, charging late. But Brian Hernandez put on one of the best rides in Derby history.
And that's the beauty of these races. You just don't know. At first glance, watching that race last year, maybe a Derby prospect and turning out to be, a sign of things to come.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you looked at Catching Freedom, you just kind of knew that he was the kind of horse that maybe was built for the Derby. He was a little short. You didn't know what was going to happen with Mystic Dan, but he just pulled off the perfect trip that day. And he was always a tactical horse, and they had confidence in him.
Much more on the Smarty Jones, the 9th race. A little bit later on here from Oaklawn Park, race number 6, horses on track. Good allowance race, $130,000 purse. And 4-year-olds and older. You liked a bit of an outsider here, a Silver Heist, Paul, number 2 at 12-1. What's the story?
Well, I like the 2 in here a little bit because if you look at the 2 Silver Heist, the horses run some good races. Now, I get it. There's not good races at Oaklawn Park, but hear me out. The last 3 times this horse has been at Oaklawn, or the last 2 times, the horse drew 10-10 and 9-9. And, when you're 10-10 to the short wire, you got no shot. I mean, and now we are going to the short wire here. So now you go down to the 2-hole. You get a better trip. I think the 1 blasts out of there with the blinkers on. And I think the horse has been getting backed up by some outside posts when he's been here. So you're getting 12-1. But what do you do with a horse like the 6? Was it the Lasix last time, or was it just a clunker?
Big City, who is an overlay at 4-1, number 6. Christian Torres, leading rider aboard, had a big allowance win at Remington, and then, just things didn't quite work out in the Zia Park Derby.
Yeah, it didn't. And, I was talking to Ray Briner, assistant trainer, Kenny McPeak, and he said, listen, the 8 should give a good account of himself. Obviously, should be the favorite here at 8-5. That is the 8 lat long, Julian Leperoux in the iron.
Kenny McPeak already having saddled a winner on the afternoon. Speaking of Mystic Dan, at the gate, short wire, 6 race from Oaklawn Park in this $130,000 purse, lat long, 8-5 at post time. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
That's it. 2 back, Gold Brick coming up. And to the outside post after Gold Brick will be Charleston. Here's Charleston coming up to the outside. We're ready to go. And they're off. A bad stumble at the break from One Giant Leap, who is away last. Big City had no problems, gets to the front from Gold Brick, who takes the 2nd position in a good spot. Zatara 3rd, and Lucency is 4th going into the first turn run. Silver Heist, the gray saving ground. Latlong finds himself between horses. Charleston is 3 deep with that group. A gap of 2 to Bourbon's Fault. Bourbon Aficionado alongside in a space of 4 to One Giant Leap, who after the disastrous break is last, well behind as they approach the backstretch run. Decent tempo on set by Big City. Leads a half length from the presser. Gold Brick to the outside in the yellow cap. A length and a half to Zatara. Placed well today, 3rd, just inside of Lucency, 4th, and Silver Heist, Latlong, Bourbon Aficionado, Bourbon's Fault, and Charleston. Those 3 pretty much together, and they're still 4 clear of One Giant Leap as they're halfway home. This race will end at the 16th pole, going a mile here. Big City at 7-2, a half length in front of Gold Brick at 5-2, still right there latched on to them as they go into the 4-turn run. 2 back to Zatara. Silver Heist clearly into 4th now, riding the rail around the 4 turn. Latlong is sent along, 5 off the the lead as Lucency is giving way badly. Bourbon Aficionado in midfield now. He's 7 behind under a ride, and the others are well out of it. Top of the lane, Goldbrick is dropping back. Big City has lost the lead to a long shot at 21-1. It's Zatara who comes off the turn with Francisco Arrieta, puts the pedal to the metal, gets to the rail, and accelerates, leads by 2. Big City off the rail in second. Silver Heist in third on the grandstand side. Zatara with a furlong to go. He's still 2.5 clear, and Zatara will spring the upset. Zatara wins it comfortably clear as well. Second home was Big City, and then Silver Heist lat long involved for the Miners.
No catching Zatara. Easy win, comfortable win at a big price with Francisco Arrieta, 21-1 in the 6 at Oaklawn.
Yeah, blinkers went on with Doug Anderson, and this horse made a giant move on the turn in here, and it looked at one time that the 6 was going to keep on going, and good job here to get the 6 ready. I thought it ran a giant race to hold on for second, but another bomb to start these pick 5s, 21-1. The 2 had no excuses. Got a great trip by Eric Asmussen, just had nothing in the lane.
Poindexter Thoroughbred Homebred. Zatara has been productive. 9th lifetime start, 3rd win to go with 3. Second place finishes 1, 6, 8, 2 in the 6. Oaklawn Park. Back to New York with Greg and the guys.
Lafitte, Paul, thank you. As we move on to race 9, 5 minutes to post in this 7/8 of a mile sprint, $16,000 claiming race, all for sale for that price. 4-year-olds and up who have never won 3 races or who have not won a race since October 4th of last year, the condition.
Something I wanted to note about this race because of the conditions, and I'm glad you went through all of them. The number 10, who's currently favored. You'll notice that every other horse in this race is a non-winners of 3 lifetime, has never won more than 2 races, which is the general condition. But the second condition you mentioned, Greg, is hasn't won a race since October 4th. So because of that, a horse who's got 4 lifetime wins. So I think some people might look and say, oh, running for 16s, coming out of a $12,000 claim race. This horse is dropping precipitously in class. Whether or not he wins is another story.
And 3-1, he is the favorite right now from that outside post for a barn who doesn't get a lot of the top horses, but we know has done some very good work.
They win. If I had the same ROI I do with the Leadership Mongol, with other trainers, I wouldn't have to be working. You wouldn't have to put up with me.
3-1 right now. We love putting up with you.
Unfortunately, she compensates for many of the other ROIs I have.
There is a look at this 6-year-old now, son of Uncle Mo, who's trying to win for the 5th time in his career. Certainly that's money the 6 is going to attract. It is tons of attention off that performance last time out, and it's a rematch with him and Thank You, John.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue, and Jonathan, I'm curious your opinion. If That's Money may have run better last time, I think Thank You, John is the better of the horses and gets a big rider switch to Jose Lezcano.
Yeah, and I think you're not going to get the same price right now, 7-2. I figured That's Money will go off a little bit shorter because of that figure last time, but yeah, I prefer Thank You, John. Also because Thank You, John's a little bit more tactical, can kind of make their own trip with this one, and I think that goes a long way. So, and drawn outside of the main competition. So, I prefer the 8 over the 6.
Post parade coming up. There's Thank You, John. Just leaving our screen. We'll start with Collect for Mike from the inside. Ruben Silvera rides.
It's my top choice. This horse is dropping in class and has run races that are fast enough to be competitive here. And I was hoping for a slightly better price. Hopefully we'll drift up a little bit.
Has the ability to show pace from that inside as well. King Kali, not the craziest long shot here, 9-1.
I don't have a problem with horses shipping from Finger Lakes. I just need them to fit figure-wise. I think King Kali just a tad bit too slow.
Devil's Key went by, and here is the 6. That's money.
Yeah, we talked about this horse a little bit before the post parade. Ran well last time, but I prefer the 8 in this spot.
Another Wayne Potts runner with King Moonracer.
Yeah, King Moonracer, when he was in good form, was a better turf horse. It just feels like his best form is left him.
Barn with the 4 as well. Here's the 8 in the rematch with this. That's money. Thank you, John.
Yeah, just much more tactical and drawn well outside all the main competition.
When Love Takes Over, tried to do it on the front end last start with That's Money and backed up.
Well, actually didn't run that badly given his odds, but I still don't know that makes him good enough to be competitive here. And boy, he's taking a ton of money today, huh?
Yeah, Perfect Flight certainly has some races to contend. Opened up as the favorite.
Yeah, sneaks in here with the condition, having more wins than everyone else, but just the numbers, since being claimed from Mike Maker, don't do anything to inspire much confidence.
Not a whole lot, Maggie. Separated That's Money, and this one here, Thank You, John, when they met back on December 13th, and they're going to do it again today.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. The problem, though, with Thank You, John, and it's not with what he looks like physically. I mean, this horse looks tremendous. I do think with his limited amount of starters, Jesus Romero does a fantastic job because Thank You, John is the most well-turned-out horse in this affair. But the problem is, the 7/8 for the fact that I feel like this guy is going to get some pressure from maybe a horse like When Love Takes Over with Matty Oliver aboard. So maybe it sets up better for That's Money, who looks great too. I have no problem with him at all. But again, I'm just not sure dynamically if Thank You, John's in the right, type of situation where number 10, Perfect Flight. I'm glad Andy, explained the conditions, as we're going to see a lot more of these types of, different conditions, which I think will lead to bigger field sizes at the end of the day. And it's a step in the right direction, as he faced Coffray last time, who did wire the field, but then Honorary Degree and Venge, who finished second and third just in front of him, came back and won with 79 and 75 buyers respectively. He did get a little bit tired, through the stretch going the 7/8 last time, but he's a horse that I think can be effective at this distance. Looks great, and he also said Lolita Shivmangal, she does such a great job with, again, a limited number of stock. Her horses are always incredibly well turned out, and Perfect Flight is another one of those. So I'm going to take Perfect Flight here, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. 5-2 favoritism. It's going back and forth between That's Money, the 6, and the 8. Thank you, John, in this rematch. And then this one as well was taking certainly some of that early money. Perfect Flight, the 10.
Yeah, the 10's drifting up a little bit. My 1, I didn't mention why I like this horse. I think he's got dirtied up form, and he belongs in here. Should mention, Greg, $104,000 carryover the pick 6 tomorrow, as nobody's going to hit the pick 6 today. Wow.
Tough one to have. So we look forward to that on our Sunday coverage.
Yeah. Get to work.
Both of you two prefer Thank You, John, here over.
I do. You disagree, Greg?
I think it's close.
I think it's close.
That's Money, but
I guess my feeling is, to be fair, That's Money has back form that's good, and the argument is he seemed to have refound the good form last time out. I feel like Thank You, John, his overall work is just better than That's Money, and I think that the switch to Jose Lezcano really does matter.
And I think Thank You, John is drawn better. I think he's got more tactical speed, which I think comes in handy, and I think he's going to be a better price. So there's just 3 reasons why I'm not against the 6. There's just a couple of reasons why I prefer the 8.
Close out this Saturday card with this 7-furlong event. Condition claiming race for $16,000. There is That's Money. See if he can do it one better when he got by Thank You, John, but couldn't seal the deal. Missed by a head against Very Funny. This will be the second off a short layoff for the Bruce Brown barn. Let's send it upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
There's That's Money. Perfect Flight. Perfect Flight. Goes in. All set. And they're off. And completely missing the start there was King Moonracer as well back. King Moonracer missed the start. Is already 8 lengths the trailer. Speed to the outside from When Love Takes Over. Right to the front, gets over to the rail, and is rank on the front end. And now When Love Takes Over, Matty over, they're clear. They're up by 2. Now a length and a half is cutting into the margin. Will be Thank You, John. The front 2 have already separated about 4 lengths now. As moving forward, as Devil's Key is towards the inside of That's Money in between horses. Out wider, Perfect Flight is on the move. Here's Perfect Flight is 3 wide, and that second grouping is now grabbed 3rd. Coming after the leaders who went 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Towards the back, King Moonracers trying to roll from the back after the terrible beginning. King Kali is there, and the trailer Collect for Mike. They're well into the far turn, and Thank You John has taken the lead. Right there is when Love takes over towards the inside, splitting rivals in a very tight spot as Devil's Key, who wants to muscle on through, is doing just that. Here's Devil's Key is in the 2 path. That's Money is right there, is in the 3 path, is dropping out of it was when Love takes over. Perfect Flight is still ranging up 4 wide, 4 across the racetrack. The one saving ground to the inside, That's Money to the outside, and still battling on is Devil's Key right there, and these are the top 2. They're approaching a final furlong as Thank You John is back to 3rd. Devil's Key with a neck in front, but right there is That's Money trying to stick with this rival, and That's Money is back in front. Devil's Key is not going anywhere inside the final 16th. That's Money is almost there. That's Money up by a length. That's Money. Luis Rivera Jr. picks up another one. That's Money over Devil's Key, Perfect Flight, and Thank You John in 1 minute 27 and 3.
That's Money in a duel with Devil's Key, puts that one away and collects the 3rd win in 8 starts, does so as the 2-1 favorite.
So I guess it was just as simple as take the one that finished the best of the 2.
Yeah, exactly. You try to get too cute. But you know what? I think that's the game, though, right? I mean, you can't just look at paper and make decisions. You also have to, consider the odds and consider how these horses are being bet and who presents value. And I just felt like the 8 was a better value. And
I did too. We were wrong. No, I get it. I'll tell you something else about these last 2 races, because I do the track trends every day, and for the most part, the tracks are fair around here. It's been very tricky over the last month because on most occasions, the riders are staying away from the rail, and almost all of the effective running is being done out in the middle of the racetrack, which I think gives a lot of people, understandably, the impression the rail's bad. And then you'll see a few horses run okay up the rail, and I'll often say riders seem to stay away from the rail, but I saw no indication the rail was dead. Look at today. First 7 races, I had friends telling me the rail's dead today, and I couldn't really argue except to say I don't know who was compromised by it. Well, now we've seen 2 straight races where horses ran extremely well on the rail, and there's clearly nothing wrong with it.
I've always felt like the bias game is better played after the completion of a day. It's very, very hard to play it within the day.
Unless it's noticeable.
Unless it's noticeable.
Like we had that huge gold rail on December 27th.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just, the tracks can change through weather, through moisture, through lots of different things.
That's Money with the win. Second off a short layoff, Luis Rivera Jr., trainer Bruce Brown, Manhattan Racing Stable, and the 2-1 favorite takes this finale on this Saturday card. We have a lot still to come from Oaklawn, so don't think about going anywhere, including that Derby prep in the Smarty Jones. And we didn't bring it up, but you brought it to my attention that we're talking about where Derby winners can come from. And yes, they can come from the Jerome, a race that was formerly known as the Count Fleet, which Smarty Jones, of course, won.
Right. I mean, the Jerome's been around a long time, but the Jerome is in the spot of the Count Fleet, and Smarty Jones won this race in 2004 and went on to some pretty impressive performances, including, obviously, the Derby. So don't ever say these horses that run early in the year in New York in the winter can't go on and do big things.
We are going to switch things up on everyone. We apologize, but we're going to briefly go to the app. So you can see us on the Fox Sports app and our New York Racing Association YouTube page just for a little bit, and then we'll be back on FS2, but you can catch us there in the meantime. We'll have the prices from this finale and, of course, the Smarty Jones and the Mockingbird from Oaklawn still to come.
Introducing Peace and Justice, new to New York in 2025. A proven sire with 200 winners, 16% winners lifetime, and one of only 2 New York-based stallions to have a graded stakes winner at Saratoga in 2024. Now, with 3 different racing surfaces coming to New York, and with New York breds running for equal purses as open company, Peace and Justice is the sure choice for 2025. Peace and Justice, now standing at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Greatest Honor has taken the lead now. Less than a quarter of a mile to go, and Greatest Honor starts to get away. Greatest Honor, he's an easy winner in the Holy Bull. And here he comes now. Greatest Honor finding his best stride right when he needs to, and he's going to run down, drain the clock to win the Fountain of Youth.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Still with you, just kidding, on our FS2 coverage. We didn't have to go anywhere after all. Program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Beautiful shot there. Nightcap in New York, it goes to That's Money. Bruce Brown, Luis Rivera Jr., Manhattan Racing Stable. 4-year-old son of Audible collects his third career win.
Nice riding double for Luis Rivera, who rode Cyclone State to victory, and a great way to end the day for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, this horse ran extremely well. I mean, it exits the same race as the horse that Andy and I both like. Thank you, John. Just ran better. No excuses for the 8. 8 had a perfect trip. The 6 just ran better.
If you're going to lose in horse racing, it's good to lose when you're wrong. You know, I mean, to just be wrong. It's tough when you take tough beats and your horses, you feel like they could have won. Your 5-horse early in the day who really should have won.
You guys were wrong. I mean.
We were completely wrong. No, we were. You're right. We were completely wrong.
$6. I had to get that in. $6.60.
I had third, by the way,
for the win. Okay.
I'd have the 4 anywhere.
Pick 5, $9,129. Not bad, and as Andy mentioned earlier, carryover of over $100,000 into Sunday.
I don't have my Sunday PPs with me, but I'm looking forward to the card. It's actually a good card tomorrow. No, it's got some good races. The 7th race, these are Saturdays PPs, right? January 4th is today.
I want to thank our research department for that.
Well, they're keeping their record intact.
Yes, indeed. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. 2 stakes still to come. From Oaklawn, we'll be on the road to the Derby with the Smarty Jones. And for 3-year-old fillies, the Mockingbird is coming up. That is She's So Spicy, the one to beat for Jose D'Angelo. Back with you on our Saturday coverage of America's Day of the Races here on Fox Sports 2. One Derby prep down in the Jerome, another still to come in the Smarty Jones. And we also have the Mockingbird for 3-year-old fillies, and that is what is up next. And she's so spicy. Overwhelming favorite right now for trainer Jose D'Angelo off a dominating debut performance and then third in a stake at Churchill in her second start.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if she brings that good form for Jose, she's going to be tough to beat.
She's quick early as well. Here's Lady Crush. She won her debut.
She's going to have to get a lot faster.
27-1. That was at a softer circuit, and this is the big leagues for her. GW's girl, Greg Compton trains.
Yeah, they're betting this horse getting on the dirt for the first time.
Only on, 2 starts on turf so far for her. Dirt debut ahead. Piggy Tails Up, trained by Dan Ward.
Another horse that's just going to have to get a lot faster and is moving up in company as well.
Eventually, she'll enter our screen. There she is. Isaac Castillo will ride, coming off a win on a sloppy sealed track. Helen's Revenge, another 40-some-odd to 1 shot here for Kelly Bainham.
Ambitious placing for a horse who won for Maiden 35. She's a New York bred. Maybe we'll see her run up here one day.
Clapping Trees, Junior Alvarado sighting.
Yeah, it's interesting Junior's there. She has some speed, but there's a lot of speed outside in this race.
Second in the stake at Zia Park last time out for Clapping Trees. Here is Battle Shipper, trained by Doug Anderson.
Yeah, just kind of one of those tweeners. Had a wire-to-wire win, but the pace figure wasn't that fast 2 starts back.
Here she is, and she is fast early. Flavian Pratt rides.
Yeah, she is. I'm not against her. I think she has a rival all the way on the outside, but she's the horse to beat.
Flash Master won the debut against Softer.
Yeah, against Softer was claimed that day 2 for 50, switches barns, and shows up here like some others in an ambitious placing.
And here is Chatter, trained by John Ortiz. She broke her maiden impressively on the front end of Keeneland.
I would bet this horse as an alternative because in the straight speed figures, Timeform US buyers, this horse is competitive with the 7. My problem is looking up the horses from the race that she comes out of. They have come back, and one after another have run worse. The second horse ran almost 10 points worse. Same with the third horse. The fifth horse, first-time starter, ran 16 points worth. And I just wonder if that's not as good a race as it looks, Jonathan.
Not common for a maiden race at Keeneland.
Yeah,
usually there's a bunch of monsters in there that go on to do good things.
Well, she's so spicy as we go to Lafitte and Paul. She's got some sizzle, too. Can anybody, guys, keep up with her early in this race?
She's fast. She's so spicy. Yeah. Paul, odds on and rightfully so, 2-5 here with Flavian Pratt in the saddle.
Yeah, and she's going to be tough to catch, let's be honest. I mean, she's very, very fast. When you cut out fractions of 21 and 3 and 44, and you kind of was the one hanging around, and if you look at her debut race, the way she ran, if she runs this race, they're literally all running for second. Now, I'll disagree a little bit with Andy where I think that the 2 for Greg Compton is the main danger rather than the 9, but I do think the 9 does have some quality, but they're all going to have to step up to beat this filly.
That was her debut, Gulfstream, mid-October, same distance, Paul, and there you see her just running up the score.
Yeah, she's come back after her last race in the Fern Creek and with bullet drill over bullet drill. I just think this great little filly by Matoli just doesn't know how to go slow. So I think there's only one way to go. She goes to the front end and plays Catch Me If You Can.
So D'Angelo mentioned that in the stakes race that she deserved the opportunity in that Fern Creek, and that he felt the start of the race, while it wasn't a bad stumble or anything along those lines, but just not as sharp as he would have liked to have seen her, and felt that was the difference.
Yeah, he sort of said it kind of took the starch out of her towards the end of the race. Now, what was very interesting to me, and I get it with maybe speed horses, she was in the paddock. Now, the paddock here at Oaklawn can get a little bit tight. She had a shadow roll on in the paddock and was behaving herself very, very well. And then they took the shadow roll off when she got onto the race course. As you're looking at the 3, the Dan Ward charge, there is the 6 now. Battle Shipper, Doug Anderson just caused an upset in the last race, 20-1 here.
Towards the inside, you touched on GW's girl, unraced since the India summer. Francisco Arrieta, who won on a 21-1 shot about 25 minutes ago. Key to victory for her this afternoon.
Well, I think the key is that she's got to like the dirt, right? She's had 2 races on the turf, but reportedly in the morning, she's been working very, very well for Greg Compton. And, you know, Greg's horses, usually run well this meet. He's gotten off to a slowish start, but you could see at 4-1, and there is chatter on the outside for John Ortiz. I like Andy. I do like the last win, and Vekoma obviously has been a hot sire, and she was very good when she broke her maiden. Now facing winners for the first time, that'd be just my one inclination. And like Andy said, sometimes those races, I guess time is the best handicapping tool, and a lot of those horses haven't come back and win, but you still got to give her credit for winning the race.
WSS Racing, you see the colors there with Chatter, a win yesterday for WSS Racing, and that's Team Brightwork for trainer John Ortiz. Chatter here, and Ramon Vasquez, pedal to the metal right from the onset, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, She's So Spicy's got to go to the front end, so someone's got to lay to the outside. So I would think if you're looking at betting the 9, you're hoping that the 9 breaks from the gate, maybe can track the 7 and then out finish. If you bet the 2, you got to hope you get away from the gate and maybe get that pocket trip. And if somebody can sting the 7, then maybe the 2 could be the horse.
She's So Spicy, Chatter, the faster fillies here on paper. Start of the late pick 4, first of 2 stakes races. Smarty Jones, race 9. This Mockingbird. All right, who do you think, should things really heat up, should the pace be that fast, who do you think has the best late move? Who do you think is the best of the horses that would attack from off the pace?
I think it's the 2. I think it really do. I know the horse has been running on turf, but I think this horse can show some kick in here a little bit late. The 4, Helen's Revenge at 31-1, I thought looked good on the racetrack for Kelly Bainham. Was good last time out. I think that horse can pass horses too. But again, when you look at this field, you're just looking at the 7, and you're seeing, the gate is probably going to get her beat, or the only way to get her beat, unless somebody really steps up in here.
She's So Spicy, 2-5 here. Just her 3rd career start. What kind of potential, what kind of upside do you think she has in 2025 moving forward?
She probably has a great upside. I would think Jose D'Angelo does not want to take any kind of speed away from her. Would he try her maybe on turf? Maybe that could be in the possibilities. She could be a 5-furlong specialist if she ever liked that. There's not a lot of breeding for that. But, it remains to be seen. If they could ever get her to relax, and it seems like when you put blinkers on her, cheek pieces on her in the paddock, she can be a horse that maybe acts. But I think that's maybe more Jose just reserving her speed for the racetrack.
What a season, what a year 2024 was for her rider and star jockey Flavien Prat. I think by most considered a heavy, heavy favorite to take home a first ever Eclipse Award, shattering records, breaking Jerry Bailey's all-time record for most graded stakes victories in a year, most stakes victories at Saratoga during the course of a summer, and now picking up right where he left off with a pair of live mounts and stakes races this afternoon, riding the favorite in both this upcoming Mockingbird and later the Smarty Jones.
Yeah, listen, I don't even know how I would say, he's kind of cracked into the Ortiz brothers, right? The Irad and Jose Ortiz were just ruling this sport, jockeys, winning Eclipse Awards over Eclipse Awards, and enter Flavien Prat. And it's almost like, okay, I'm that guy here in the middle of some of these superstars now that's now become maybe the top guy. And you can't argue that he's been the best this year.
Clutch rider, incredible 2024, and looking to kick things off here in 2025, riding both favorites in the Mockingbird and the Smarty Jones as they make their way behind the starting gate. She's So Spicy, odds on with Pratt 2-5, and all eyes will be on her right from the start. How this race will finish, a lot will be determined with what happens with these 3-year-old fillies getting out of the blocks.
Yeah, it's going to be a big part of it, especially what Jose was thinking about. The other part about She's So Spicy, she ran against 11 horses. She's run against 21 horses, so she's been in some big fields and cleared big fields. So I don't think it's going to be a problem clearing a smaller field like this, even with a tiny bit of a hiccup at the gate, but obviously you don't want that to happen.
Another look there. Chatter, Ramon Vasquez aboard. As they make their way behind the starting gate, these 3-year-old fillies in the second running of the Mockingbird. She's So Spicy, 2-5 at post time. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Post time for the 2025 Mockingbird live on Fox Sports 2.
taking her spot in the gate, and she went right in there. GW's Girl walking forward. Lady Crush, the one that's a little stirred up in the gate, moving around in there. Piggy Tails Up will be next to load in. Flashmaster, post 8. The rider hopped off Flashmaster. Manny Esquivel working to load this runner without the jockey. Helen's Revenge, in the meantime, has taken her spot. 2 more runners to complete the line. Flashmaster is one of them. The longest shot in the race at 49-1. And then Shatter to the outside post after Flashmaster. Flashmaster went in, and now we wait on Shatter, coming off a maiden win in October at Keeneland. First start against winners, freshening up for the Johnny Ortiz barn. All eyes, though, on number 7, She's So Spicy, at 2-5. We're ready to go. And we're off. In the Mockingbird Stakes, She's So Spicy broke sharply today, and Shatter is aggressively ridden to claim second, but She's So Spicy is quickest, leads by a length. Here comes long shot Lady Crush to turn up the tempo here, and Lady Crush dashes forward to take the lead away from She's So Spicy, happy to track right behind, and is now second. A length to Shatter in third, gap of 2.5 to GW's Girl with Clapping Trees, another length and a half to Piggy Tails Up in the Gray Battle Shipper. Flashmaster is second to last, and Helen's Revenge can see them all as they go into the forward turn. Lady Crush wings it on the lead, and flew. Went 21 3/5 seconds for the first quarter mile, but now Flavian Pratt says go with She's So Spicy, who takes the lead. Now Chatter comes on the scene, and the top 2 choices in the wagering are 1-2 coming to the top of the lane with GW Girl and Chase Mode third. They're off the turn. She's So Spicy down the lane, puts 3 lengths on Shatter, who could not keep up to this point. GW's Girl rallying on in a second at She's So Spicy with the lead, but GW's Girl's making a race of it. She's So Spicy asked for her best. GW's Girl on the outside getting to this front runner, and GW's Girl has gone by. GW's Girl and Francisco Arrieta win the Mockingbird. She's So Spicy, good effort. Went very, very fast early, though, and it cost her late. Chatter ran third, and the big long shot Flashmaster was fourth.
A thrilling edition of the Mockingbird. She's So Spicy, desperately trying to hold on, but in the end, too much. GW's Girl at 5-1, and Francisco Arrieta a second win on the afternoon for Arrieta. Wow.
Yeah, a little assist here from the 1 here. Lady Crush. The 7 broke so sharply. The 1 showed blinding speed from the rail for Travis Murphy. But Francisco Arrieta and Greg Compton, he's been talking about this horse. They brought this horse to Keeneland, got a little bit of an unlucky trip, and this horse ran down your 2-5 favorite here. And Compton, Greg and Francisco Arrieta, you look like Greg is going nuts down there, actually.
At what point could you tell? Because it looks like She's So Spicy. She's opening up an insurmountable lead in deep stretch, and slowly but surely you could tell GW's Girl starts plugging away. At what point did you think that the favorite might be in deep water?
Well, when you duck down to the rail and you can't really see the horse chasing you on the outside, I knew the 2 had a ton of talent to chase this 7 to the wire. I just didn't know the 7, ran a bang-up race. To be honest with you, the 7 ran giant. For the 1 to get underneath them, they went 45, but they really quickened that other quarter almost in 12 flat, and then they finished home in like 12 and change. So it wasn't like the 7 was backing up. It was like the 2 went and got the 7.
Dirt debut and a stakes winner. The Munnings filly, GW's Girl, runs down She's So Spicy in the second running of the Mockingbird Stakes. 2-7-9-8. Results, reaction when we return.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear.
Here comes Cody's
2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his 4-go, also running a 1-12 bite. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Who's still a nose in front. Carew is lifting late as well. Better lucky than good at the rail. Better lucky than good. Carew, better lucky than good, wins the finale.
Welcome to Adelphi Racing Club's unparalleled partnership experience. Exclusive access to the backstretch at Belmont and Saratoga, premier accommodations on race day, and of course, experience excitement like no other. Contact us today to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage, America's Day at the Races, and the Mockingbird looked like it was going to be all She's So Spicy. It looked to open up a big lead on this group, but GW's girl comes and runs her down for trainer Greg Compton. Francisco Arrieta, first time on dirt, and yes, it appears she can handle the surface. Here's the winning move, JK.
Clearly can. I mean, look, it's one of those situations where she was being bet for a horse that had never run on the dirt, like everyone in the world knew that she could run on the dirt. She's So Spicy kind of did all the dirty work, and it was right about here if you had the 2 GW's girl, you started to kind of get a little bit excited, maybe lean to the front of your seat. And at this point, it was a foregone conclusion she was going to go by.
Yeah, and I feel like a broken record with this, but give Paulie a lot of credit. This is not a kind of horse I think you and I would have really bet on, Jonathan. Paulie was very optimistic that this horse would run well, and he was completely right. And as far as She's So Spicy, okay, did she run the best race of anybody? Probably did, considering the pace and all things considered. You knew, though, the pace was going to be hot. You knew who she was. She's supposed to win this race, so I don't want to make a big excuse for her.
Very fast early, weekends late. GW's girl, credit her, though, runs big to run her down. Let's go to Paul.
She take off, and I just flag her, and she keep going.
I'm with winning jock here, Francisco Arrieta, who the winning rider at GW's girl here, and I was just asking you, did you think you were going to get there, Francisco?
You know, I just tell you that when I take a look, the other horse was running in front like 3 lanes, and I put my whip out and I whip my horse, and she take off, and I just flag her, and she keep reaching forward. So when I switch it to the left and I touch her, she just exploded. Yeah.
And Greg gave you a lot of confidence. He had told you she had been working. Did you work this horse over dirt, Francisco?
I did work last time, and she worked pretty nice. I watched her replays when she run on the grass. But Jose Ortiz also worked the horse on the dirt before me, and he likes it. He say he can run both surface.
Congratulations on the Mockingbird, Francisco. You deserve this. You've been here for a long time here at Oaklawn. What does Oaklawn Park mean to you?
This is home for me. I'm very happy to be back home. I also got to tell thank you so much, my agent Fidor. He picked the mount.
Well, it's a good mount to pick with the Mockingbird.
Thank you.
Big win, satisfying to run down this speedster who was a huge odds-on favorite. GW's girl, Francisco Arrieta, gets it done for trainer Greg Compton, and it looks like dirt may, certainly if she's going to be staying in Hot Springs, is going to be a lot more in her future. Race 8 next. Entry-level allowance, 6 furlong sprint, and a full field attaché. Tyler Bacon, the apprentice, will ride for Chris Hartman. coming off a big win on the inside at Churchill Downs.
You know, when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time at Cerro Harness Track, and my friend, the late Richie Freelander, who's one of the greatest harness handicappers ever, used to have a lot of friends that hung around, and they'd all pretend to be handicapping, and I was one of them. And then we just asked Richie who he liked before the race. I'm not going to handicap Oaklawn anymore. I'm just going to ask Paulie who he likes.
It is incredible the handle he has had on.
He's good.
We say it a lot. I think it is maybe the most difficult track to handicap in the country.
And he does it the way that I think you have to if you want to be good. You have to be immersed.
You have to live there.
You have to, you have to be there. You got to be paying attention.
12 months a year for him, you think, at Hot Spring? Hot Spring, you hear, Paulie?
I wouldn't. I'm not saying
Paulie's
full-time,
moving.
Paul.
Jonathan's moving you there for the year.
Oh, he's there for the meet.
He's getting you a place for the year. Don't worry, you're all covered.
17 minutes away from the 8th. Paul doing an exceptional job as usual. This young man is as well. Keith Asmussen. He's got the genes to be great in the sport, and he is really starting to take off. A lot of those mounts coming for Dad. We'll have more on Keith Asmussen and his story next.
Such a privilege coming from a family of jockeys that they understand the trials and tribulations of being a jockey and what it takes mentally and physically. When I first started, I wanted to ride one race more than anything, and this kind of snowballed into something that has, blown my wildest expectations.
And it's Ian Glass fending off all the challenges, and he'll prevail going away too.
Today, the Asmussens are better known for training thoroughbreds, thanks to the accomplishments of Keith's father, Steve, who was the only trainer to win 10,000 races in North America.
It's impossible to explain how much fun it is. I mean, I've been unbelievably blessed in horse racing, and I think a lot of it is, growing up when my dad rode, and then my older brother rode and stuff. So the excitement of that, and then to get to relive it with your kids is unbelievable.
I imagine he's got an immense source of pride from it, given that he is, other than horses, taught me about everything I know. Grew up around the racetrack, handicapping races. Hometown, Arlington, Texas, 20 minutes away from Lone Star Park. Obviously infatuated with jockey as a profession growing up, just having known my my father and my uncle and my grandfather, who were all jockeys.
Keith Asmussen's mother, Julie, was an accomplished rider in her own right. She competed in the rodeo event, barrel racing, through high school. And his younger brother, Eric, is the latest Asmussen to forge a path as a jockey. Keith and Eric have already ridden on the same card at several racetracks, just like their uncle and father did at Aqueduct in the 1980s.
It was always, a dream, but I would go as far as saying like a pipe dream of being a jockey. Probably 7th grade, I was about the same size I am now, so I thought I was going to blow right by it.
It was Keith's height and weight that steered him towards a more typical career path after graduating from high school.
Applied to the University of Texas and I got in their business school. I'm an accounting major. I have a 5 years master's degree in professional accounting. And it wasn't until my junior year at college when COVID hit, 2020, that when classes went online, I came to work here at Oaklawn. Because I'd already, poked my father quite a bit about, is it possible I could ride a race? Before I even rode, my parents made me promise that, once you start, you're not going to want to go back to school. You got to promise you're going to go back to school. And I kept that promise, and I went back for 2 more years, and I got my degrees. And as soon as I graduated, I went straight to the racetrack.
Rivet has won his 3rd straight, and Keith Asmussen has an Oaklawn Stakes victory.
Keith James Asmussen is named after his grandfather, the family patriarch, who rode quarter horses for 38 years. In fact, grandfather and grandson both won a race for Hall of Fame trainer Dwayne Lucas 54 years apart.
These two to the wire, Papa Rocket.
I love being a jockey. It's such an incredible feeling. There's nothing like the feeling of being on top of a thoroughbred racehorse at full flight. And, when you add the art of race riding, it was such a spectacle watching it growing up and just being so attracted to it, and then being able to actually do it, it's beyond words.
One of the most prominent names in racing, the Asmussens. Keith Asmussen, last year a breakout meet, Paulie, 2nd in the rider standings here at Oaklawn Park. And really one of the coolest moments of the meet was watching him team up with none other than Dwayne Lucas to win his first ever graded stakes victory aboard a maiden lemon muffin in the Honeybee.
Yeah, and I think that one thing you can take away from everything is you're going to watch him get home with lemon muffin in last year's Honeybee. How do I put it, Lafitte? Keith could be very privileged if he wanted to. Let's be honest. He comes from a family that his father is the best trainer or has the most wins in North America. Cash revolutionized riding, as Mig will tell you. He's got a brother riding. His father did ride. And it's just amazing what this kid has done. And, mentally, he's just right there. Cerebral, he's right there. I know he's battling through a lot of stuff because he had an injury, but what he did last year, and he's so humble is what I wanted to get to, and he's always got a smile on his face where he doesn't have to if he doesn't want to. He doesn't need to win races. He don't want to. He wants to win races. I think that's the difference,
Riding for Wayne Lucas in the Kentucky Oaks, in the Kentucky Derby, and how much he improved in such a short period of time. As we've discussed, they give away $950,000 a day here at Oaklawn Park. This is a strong riding colony, and for him to finish 2nd in the standings behind Christian Torres, it speaks volumes.
It speaks a lot of volumes. He was very, very good towards the end. He was getting better and better, and he's just cerebral, like I said. He, obviously he battles his weight. He talks about his height all the time, but when he's putting his horses in the right spot, he was getting better and better. And I think him reading the racing form, that's one thing he's not lack of. He's been around a racing form since he's been a baby. So he knows how to read a racing form, and he knows where to put his horses.
And riding a long shot in this upcoming 8th race at 24-1. We'll have much more on this 8th race, Greg. And by the way, his brother Eric, a finalist for Nation's Leading Apprentice Eclipse Award finalist.
Yeah, it sounds like it's almost a lock, like he's going to win that award as well. So now Dad's going to have some tough choices to make who he gives mounts to.
Knowing Steve, I think he'll be okay. What do you think?
Absolutely, and it's funny growing up at Lone Star Park was the first racetrack I ever went to, and I always root for Keith because he went to the University of Texas.
There you go. It was amazing how rapidly we saw him improve at this meet, last year.
I feel like I saw it with his brother. I don't feel that comfortable. I don't really feel like I have that much experience watching Eric ride, but obviously,
I'm talking about Keith.
Keith's improvement was because, frankly, 2 years ago I wouldn't want to really bet on him, and last year I thought he rode very well. So I agree. And listen, it's a racing family, and a lot of people don't know it. And Paulie mentioned it. Steve rode too.
Yes, he
Think
did.
of Cash. I remember when Cash rode here in the winter.
Cash, of course, changed the entire way they ride in Europe. That's the kind of influence he had.
Steve Cawthon, I think, first when he went to England, and then Cash came behind him. But they were aggressive riders, and riders had not been aggressive before that, overseas at least.
We're going to get to the post parade here coming up for this 8th at Oaklawn here in just a moment. And we're going to see Keith Asmussen on a big long shot in Hailstorm. Currently 23-1 on the board. We're going to start with Attaché here in just a moment, and another apprentice, Tyler Bacon, will ride from the inside for trainer Chris Hartman on the one who's the 9-5 favor right now, and here he is.
He got speed, but there's more speed in this race than him, so you worry about him working at the right trip, but he's certainly fast for a trainer that wins races.
Here is Keith Asmussen on Hailstorm.
He's just not fast enough from a figure standpoint to be competitive with this group.
Here comes Braylon, big price as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's just overmatched here and not fast enough, like Jonathan said, with a 2 to be forward.
Going to cut back in distance. The 5, great Richie M. Migliori.
I don't know. That's kind of, we should find out about that, actually. Improved off the claim last time for Mike Maker, but he probably needs to take another step forward.
Gun Flash taking money.
Going in the right direction, keeps improving.
Midnight Pranks, just missed by a nose at Lone Star.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always wonder about bringing that form from out-of-town tracks to Oaklawn.
Good as I once was. Matt Shire trains.
Yeah, this is my pick in here. This horse has a race 2 back that can absolutely win.
And Juilliard, Martin Garcia for Steve Hobby.
Has a couple of races back last year at Oaklawn fast enough. Last time out, maybe it was a prep off a layoff. Maybe you need the race.
Here's Willie Bird, has very strong form.
Yeah, it looks like the one that'll likely find the front end, or at least should be on the front end.
And Lundberg, rider change Rafael Bejarano.
Could be breathing down the neck of Willie Bird, potentially creating a quick pace.
From the far outside, Drew Mania.
Yeah, a few years back, ran in the Advent. It's just been kind of going the wrong direction since.
It's a fast track for the first time in a long time for that one. 33-1. Run Jalen Run gets in from the also eligible list.
Yeah, was stuck down on the inside last time with a kind of a pocket trip to the inside. Now gets to go towards the outside. Some of his better races are when he's out in the clear.
Let's go back to the 8-5 favorite. Again, that's the rail. It's Attaché for Chris Hartman. Comes off a big win at Churchill. That was going 7/8 of a mile. And that's the 5th win at 14 career starts.
Sometimes I think Jonathan worries about the rail. At least he definitely does more than I do. But there's a lot of validity to what he's talking about. And I think Attaché fits that. This rider has got an apprentice, has got to work out the right trip, because I don't see him outrunning the 10. I don't see him outrunning the 11. And you have to worry a little about getting shuffled out from in there. Otherwise, he is the horse to beat, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he certainly is. He's going to have to work out a good trip. If you watch all of his previous races, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of like his last 9 races, he was outside.
Yeah.
This is going to be his first time to be stuck in behind horses. Like Andy said, he's not going to make the lead from down there. He just doesn't have enough early speed. How is he going to handle it? He might overcome it, and he might handle it.
He doesn't need the lead to win.
No, but he's got to work out a good trip, and at a short price, sometimes that's hard to wrap your brain around.
And with an apprentice that we're not really that familiar with, and he's not winning at a high percentage. He may turn out to be a terrific rider, and I obviously hope he does, but you're still asking a lot. And I think you're always going to have to ask yourself the questions with favorites. You'd understand why they're favored most of the time. The question is, why would you want to play against them potentially, especially in competitive Oaklawn, where race after race after race, people talk about how the purses and going there, and obviously they get an enormous amount of participation. Their racing is terrific. I mean, you got big field after big field, big field. But I don't know, from an owner's perspective, going there, the purses are good. It's tough to win. I mean, it's one race, one war after another down there.
So much strong competition coming in from all over the country. But, yes, $130,000 on the line, the purse, for this entry-level allowance as we send it out to Lafitte and Paul.
12 horse war in this one with Attaché at 9-5. Tyler Bacon, couple of wins on the afternoon thus far. Paulie, you like him going in. What's the key to success for Attaché?
Well, I think the guys in New York explained it a little bit. I think the other part about it is he did not break well last time. He needs to break well. He needs to sit maybe in that pocket spot. And I don't think he needs a lead to win this race. I think he's definitely the horse to beat. And Tyler has shown to me that he can handle this type of horse. You know, if you look back, he was gelded, reportedly gelded on February 7th of 2024. And, you know, he keeps on rising since that. So maybe the gelding did help him. He's the horse to beat.
Looking at Gun Flash, 9-2. Take a look at his most recent. Now, 3 weeks ago, same level in the mud, a Gun Flash. Paul far back and wide, but on the move.
Listen, I like this horse on this day, and he got caught behind the 8 ball, and he was so far out of it, and he came rolling home. And like JK said, he keeps on getting better and better. Now, Abel Ramirez Rodriguez, I've been talking about him this whole meet, and his horses have been running, and this horse came flying home. So, you know, I'm in agreement with JK about the 8, as good as I once was. That race 2 back probably wins this race, and the 10, but I do think the 6 is the horse that will roll late.
Abel Ramirez Rodriguez, good meet, as you mentioned, current leading trainer. Dismiss anything from his barn at your own risk.
It is true. I mean, and then when you get to the 8, good as I once was, you know, it was a heady claim by Matt Shire, a good win. Then came over a muddy strip and probably didn't like that. So if you're willing, you got to be willing to throw a line through some things. And so it makes the 8 a major player in here. If he can somehow get somewhere back to that race 2 back, 6-1 is, or 5-1 is a pretty good price.
What are you looking for early on? How fast of a pace do we have here, at least on paper?
Well, we'll see how fast the 10 is here, Willie Bird, for Larry Ravelli. Most of his horses are, and this horse has cut 21-1, 21-2, been the favorite in 3 of his 5 starts, got bullet drills over synthetic at Turfway Park. So you got E.T. Baird, who is a front kind of guy that likes to sense his horses. So I would think the 10, obviously, and the 11. Now, there's going to be a lot of speed coming from the outside slots.
Outside speed on paper for this 8th race. Oaklawn Park, Attaché the favorite, 2-1. Tyler Bacon. Where do you think he wants to settle him early on from an inside post with a full field to his outside?
Well, I think last race, by him getting left, I get it. He was a big, big favorite and was supposed to win that race. He proved that he could pass horses. I get it. It wasn't that much, but he just needs to get away from there and not get shuffled too far back with all the speed, because when all the speed on the outside collapses, he needs to be able to hold his position.
9-5, start of the late pick 3. Smarty Jones is next. 3-year-olds, 21 Kentucky Derby points available. $250,000 purse, first local step towards the Arkansas Derby. That's the 9th race on the Oaklawn program. Post time for the 8th. Still looking at the favorite, Attaché, 9-5. What about Great Richie M, number 5 for Mike Maker with Ricardo Santana in the saddle, looking to go back-to-back, is Great Richie M.
Yeah, Mike Maker is the hardest trainer to read in the world, isn't he? But this horse is 7-for-11 in the exacta. And, you know, the one bad race, if you want to count it, was when he was over his head at Keeneland. So I can see this horse definitely Great Richie M for Flying P. They already got a win at this meet, and Ricardo Santana in the irons.
It's Great Richie M making their way behind the starting gate. 6 furlong dash, $130,000 purse. The smallest purse associated with an allowance race at Oaklawn. Paul, $130,000.
It's a mini stakes race everywhere else. Out in California, it's a grade 2.
There you go. $250,000. Smarty Jones is next. First things first, post time for the 8th. Attaché with Tyler Bacon. 9-5 at post time. Here's Matt Dinneman.
Great Richie M in the pink jacket coming up next. Still working with Willie Bird. Lundberg in the white jacket, red cap loading. Gun Flash, post 6. Drew Mania about to take his spot in the starting gate after Gun Flash. They're still working with Gun Flash to go in. He's in now. Drew Mania, post position 12. Two back, Midnight Pranks coming up. And then to the outside post, we wait on Run, Jalen, Run. Here's Run, Jalen, Run. Go again. We're ready to go. And we're off. Uneventful beginning. Willie Bird, per usual, showing his customary front-running speed. Lundberg put into play as a share of the lead as well. About a neck behind, though, as Willie Bird has a narrow advantage early on. Run, Jalen, Run from the far outside, gets to the three-path tracks in third. Attaché joining him from the rail, and he's pretty aggressive here. Attaché wants to go on the inside of horses here in a tight spot, but he's going to find a way through. Attaché moving up to come and contest that contested pace here. Far outside, Drew Mania in the red cap. Yellow Jacket is deep as they go into that far-turn run, and Attaché takes command with 3 furlongs to go. We come back in the field to Juilliard under a hard ride with Here Comes Braylon. Good As I Once Was advancing position on the rail. He's 5 from the top. And then comes Midnight Pranks under a hard ride. Gun Flash at the back, not picking up the pace to this point, is going to get to the outside. Top of the lane. Attaché off the turn. Clear. Now he's 2 ahead. He's gone clear and kicks for home. On the outside, Drew Mania into the second position. Good As I Once Was plugging away. Gun Flash coming with a late surge, passing runners, but has a lot of ground to make up on Attaché, who hits the 16th pole clear. A gutsy win today. Attaché, he was just simply fastest, like you would say, with the best horse in an old school horse race. Second home was Good As I Once Was. Then great Richie M. and Gun Flash. Attaché, just too fast.
Just too fast, but some anxious moments up the backstretch. In the end, no matter. Attaché back-to-back wins, both daylight victories as the 3-2 favorite delivers in the 8th at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and it looked like Attaché was like, you know what, Tyler? You're going for the ride. You're not riding me. You're gonna ride. I'm going to take you for a ride. Now, on the backside, it got a little hairy, like you said. He got underneath the 10, and there was a little checking. I don't know if the 1 actually brushed the rail. I'm going to find out here when I talk to Tyler or not, but 1856, there was no inquiry up or nothing. So I have a feeling that the 1 might have touched the rail when he got through that little tight spot.
It was dicey. Bacon trying to find room to maneuver in tight quarters. In the end, Attaché made his way through. 3 broke at the top of the stretch, and only a question of how far. He's sharp, he's fast. A 6 lifetime win, 1856. Rounding the far turn, you could tell, Paul, the racing was strictly for second. There would be no catching Attaché on this afternoon.
No, there wasn't. And the second best was the 8. That was a good call by Jonathan. The 1 was just the best. I mean, it was just, on paper, and it proved out. The 6 Gun Flash too far back, but Attaché was just much the best, and Tyler Bacon was able to hold on.
Big afternoon for Tyler Bacon, teaming up here with Chris Hartman. Attaché, 1856 up next. Featured event, the Smarty Jones. Plus, Smarty Jones from Arkansas to Louisville. 21 years had passed since the last Arkansas Derby winner had captured the Run for the Roses. All that changed in 2004. Compliments of a very special Pennsylvania bred.
Down, get in, 350. Here we go. 3 here, 50, down 4, 8.5, in the back. 1,400,000 stands way in the back. Thank you.
1,000,005, and I'm $1,006,000, $150,000, $1,550,000 and a half. $1,500,000. Jody, thank you.
Please hold your applause.
Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Connect, a Grade 1 winning millionaire, making his mark as a sire with Rattle and Roll, a Grade 1 winning 2-year-old, and multiple graded stakes winner. Graded stakes winning 2-year-olds Hidden Connection and Whitwater's Rand. Graded stakes winning 3-year-old Implicated. Connect, a proven sire in the making. Standing at Lane's End Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage, America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Look downtown in Hot Springs. Not just about the racing. So much to do there. It's become a really great destination, but the racing is the main thing, and it is a good product. Attaché, Tyler Bacon, Chris Hartman, back-to-back wins for this 5-year-old now who's a 6-time winner.
Yeah, this horse is the best horse on paper. It's the question of getting the trip, and you got to give the apprentice credit. He made a bold move down the backstretch to sort of seize control. They left the rail open. He said, okay, I'm going through. And you know what? Good for him. He's riding the best horse, and he rode him like the best horse.
Absolutely. It was a very brave decision to go up in there into that spot and to kind of get himself involved in what looked like a pace duel in front of him. But you're right, Andy. When you have the best horse, please ride them like they're the best horse. And that's exactly what he did.
3-2 wins as the favorite, returns $5 for the victory. Chris Hartman, Barn, we always expect to be good at Oaklawn, and that is the case again at this year's meet. As we move on to Oaklawn's Kentucky Derby Prep, their first of 2025. It is the Smarty Jones. Mile on a 16th. 3-year-olds, $250,000 purse and 10 points to the winner to get into that Kentucky Derby starting gate this year, that first Saturday in May. Mo Quality opening up. Wow, with a ton of attention right now at 3-2 for trainer Christopher Davis. Will go beyond 6.5 furlongs for the first time. Race named after a very special one, who we're going to tell you more about now. From very humble beginnings as a Pennsylvania bred who debuted at Parks to the grand stage of the Triple Crown, Smarty Jones raced his way into America's hearts back in 2004. His meteoric rise transcended this sport, becoming a story as much about hope, determination, and the dream of greatness as it was about horse racing.
We bought his mother. Smarty was her second foal. He was small.
I wasn't impressed. When he stepped off the van, I was actually there, and they had sent 2 horses. The second horse was actually what I thought was the better looking of the 2 horses. I thought right away, oh, that must be Smarty Jones, and I was wrong. It didn't take him long to show us he had some talent. How much he had, we weren't sure yet.
Second race was the Pennsylvania Nursery Stakes. He won by 15 lengths.
You know, when I first rode the horse, I didn't know anything about him. I rode a lot of horses for John Service, and he broke really good, and I thought he was going too fast. I was hoping that he wouldn't stop, and he didn't.
So his third start was in the Count Fleet.
We knew that if we could get him to settle and relax and, you know, bottle up that speed, that he could really be something, which he was.
Smarty Jones will roll home at 2-5.
And he passed with flying colors. And that was the race that I talked to Mr. and Mrs. Chapman about, possibly maybe putting him on the Derby trail.
My husband said, John, what are we going to do now? And John said, well, I think we're going to go to Arkansas. And my husband said, Arkansas?
And I go, I understand, Chappie, but I think this is the best route. So that's what we did. I love the fact that the races extended in distance with every race. You know, the Southwest being a mile, and then the Rebel being a mile and 16th, and the Arkansas Derby being a mile and 1/8, leading into the Kentucky Derby at a mile and 1/4, I thought was great.
Smarty Jones continues undefeated, wins the Southwest by 3/4.
And I knew right then, I said, well, that answered the heart question. You know, he definitely has the heart. You know, he'll be a lot stronger next time.
Smarty Jones in full stride and pulling away. He's one step closer to $5 million.
Well, there was a little pressure on us going into the Arkansas Derby because to be eligible for the Derby, the Rebel and the Southwest weren't graded. And I told Chappie, I said, you know, if he's 1-2, it gets him in the Derby. If he's not 1-2, we're probably not going to point for the Derby anyway.
Here they come into the stretch of the Arkansas Derby, and it is Smarty Jones who takes command and draws clear by 3 lengths.
The term Smarty Party was when we were racing at Oaklawn Park. If Smarty wins, there will be one huge Smarty Party. Everybody will be celebrating.
Oaklawn, they really loved that horse. It just seemed like everybody loved that horse no matter where he went.
They loved him at Oaklawn, and we loved being at Oaklawn. We had so much fun out there.
It was an incredible ride, and it really, you know, went well beyond horse racing. He became one of the big stories in all of sports. Whenever you keep rolling up wins, you're undefeated. Take the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown, you start to capture everyone's imagination.
Yeah, people love that around this time of year. It doesn't matter if you're a racing fan or not. You know, it scrolls on the bottom of you know, the Fox Sports ticker where it lets you know that, oh, there's a horse running in the Derby, an undefeated horse running in the Derby, an undefeated horse going for the Triple Crown, and it gets even just the regular sports fan excited.
And from lesser-known connections too, Andy, a Pennsylvania bred too, going up against the big blue bloods. Part of the story as well.
Oh, yeah, it was a big story. You know, I was always against this horse because he was a big internet darling. He obviously was a very good horse. I do not believe that Birdstone was lucky to beat him. I thought Birdstone ran a great race in here, and I think Birdstone was unlucky that it rained on Derby Day. But Smarty Jones was a very, very good horse, and his Preakness was a tremendous effort. And it's a shame that he never came back to the races after that, and we got to see what he could have done when he got older, because considering he didn't do that well at stud, I would love to see this guy on the racetrack again because he had the potential to be a very, very, very good horse, especially as a 4-year-old.
It was quite a ride. And, of course, it began as a 3-year-old in New York with what is now the Jerome. We saw earlier today, the Count Fleet. And then it went through Hot Springs, Southwest, Rebel, Arkansas Derby, and kind of put that series on the map a little bit and made it a really important stop on the road to the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen good horses run there before. I mean, Lily T won the Arkansas Derby. It always makes me chuckle a little bit when people say, that's a bad prep. Preps are as good as how the horses do going forward out of it. Yeah. The Wood Memorial, which a lot of people want to tell you is a bad prep, 2 of the Triple Crown winners of the 3 races came out of it a few years ago. They're as good as the horses that go in them, and unfortunately, because the Grade Stakes Committee doesn't really do a very good job, some are Grade 1s and some are Grade 2s. They should all be Grade 2s. Should be no Grade 1 leading the Derby. And in that case, it might even the playing field out, because a lot of times the better horses will go for the Grade 1 racing, like the Gulfstream, like Arkansas, like the Bluegrass, to get that grading.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times what happens, too, is spacing. Like, right, certain horses show up in certain spots because of the spacing. You know, whether you're going to go in the Florida Derby or whether you're going to go in the Arkansas Derby or the Wood or the Santa Anita Derby often has to do with, you know, your geography and the spacing of those races.
And Oaklawn is going to get good fields, too, because they get a lot of California participation because it's not as tough a ship. And when you have a trainer like Bob Baffert, who often has numerous contenders, he's always going to be a participant there. And if Bob Baffert is always in your Derby preps, there's a pretty good chance you're going to have good horses going forward. And that's worked out well for Oaklawn as well. And their California participation really makes their big races better all year long.
You could say the same, too, with another guy named Brad Cox, and he shows up quite a bit at Oaklawn. He'll have property in this race as well. Flavian Pratt will be aboard. We're getting set for the Smarty Jones. Speaking of, there is the Cox trainee, son of Medaglia d'Oro. Looked very good in the debut, winning at a mile and a 16th first time out. What will he do at start number 2?
clear off the turn. Mystic Dan cut the corner and grabbed the lead right at the top of the stretch. Sierra Leone and Forever Young are shoulder to shoulder with a furlong to go, but they've got 2 lengths to make up on Mystic Dan, who's begging for the wire. Forever Young and Sierra Leone keep on coming. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and Mystic Dan. A wild finish. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Pretty great feather in your cap to produce both the Oaks and Derby winner in your preps, and that's what Oaklawn can boast from last year.
It was a special day for Mystic Dan, who ran a credible race the Preakness as well. Obviously, his performance was not good last time, but can't take the Derby win away from him, that's for sure.
And a brilliant ride, of course, from Brian Hernandez Jr., where every inch mattered.
Every inch mattered, and he's the one who got those inches. One wrong decision, one different decision, and I feel like this horse gets beaten that race.
Sure.
So Smarty Jones going to kick off this tremendous 3-year-old series of preps on the road to that first Saturday in May. Mystic Dan won the Southwest and then rolled on to Derby Glory. Let's take a look at the field that's going to line up with the Smarty Jones this year. Myona 16th. Field of 6. We talked about Hot Property going to break for Brad Cox. Just his second career start coming up. And, of course, tackling winners for the first time. Graded Stakes Company for the first time. But he has proved he can win in a mile and a 16.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, though, Jonathan, that the bettors are taking him a little gingerly. We're so used to these Brad Cox horses like this. They always are such super short prices. I think this horse has a lot to prove. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think they'll eventually probably come for him to a certain extent. Because Mo Quality's race, I think, is very similar to that he ran at Churchill. He's stretching out, though. We kind of know who Hot Property is going around 2 turns. And then the other horse down towards the inside, obviously, that's going to take some attention is Kale's Angel, stretching out and going long for the first time.
And to be fair, that's a bad morning line of Mo Quality. He should never have been 5-1. He's obviously was never going to be that price, given how well he ran last time.
He's the 9-5 favorite. Yeah, Kale's Angel got on dirt for the first time after 4 turf starts, and he rolled in the Advent. Incredibly quick figure he earned, 93 buyer speed figure in that Advent. Can he get 2 turns on the dirt now?
You know, I was looking up some numbers for trainer Peter Miller. As a stretch out in general, he's just a 15% trainer with over 100 starts over the last 5 years with a $1.19 ROI. Now, off a win, he's 4 for 20, which is solid with a $1.90 ROI. So he's had some success. But, Jonathan, stretching horses out off wins, which the 1 and 5 are doing, that's, I think, one of the hardest things to do in general.
The one thing I will say about Kale's Angel is that it does have a couple of races going longer on the grass. There's 2-mile races in there. So, like, whatever. That doesn't have to mean anything. But he didn't win any of those races. But he ran well enough in one of them.
He's a better dirt horse, though. I mean,
certainly.
You look at his last race and you ask yourself, what were they thinking running on the turf 4 times, right?
Totally different animal, yeah.
Fast race
moving
last
to
time.
the dirt. I mean, that was a serious performance. But it was at 5.5 furlongs.
Right, and he's a complexity, and complexity could get a mile. In fact, there's an argument he ran a very, very big race, went 4th in the Breeders' Cup Mile. But it's probably better going a little shorter.
Here he is. So start number 2 on dirt, with that brilliant sprint performance in Stakes Company in the Advent.
It's kind of the theme of this race, right? How will the stretch outs do? Because 2 very good horses or very good sprinters are stretching out.
Yeah, the other one, the favorite, Mo Quality, who we'll get to in a moment. Here is Hot Gunner at 34-1.
Yeah, it has to get faster and has to want to stretch out. Some of the other ones are stretching out, but they're already fast enough.
And he's not a gun runner, despite his name.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? Bon Tom, D. Wayne Lucas.
D-Wayne wins races like this with horses that look like this that I kind of want to giggle while they're in here, and he wins races with horses like this. I don't see this one.
Mo Quality, here's the other stretch-out runner.
You know, I don't have a real strong opinion. I'm curious what Paulie thinks. As a Motown, he should be able to get more distance.
Here is from the Brad Cox barn, Hot Property won the debut going long.
Yeah, it looks to be the favorite now and deserves to be the favorite because he's done this successfully. But, man, I just don't trust him.
Just become the favorite as well. Here's Cold Battle on the outside, trying to win 3 in a row.
I think he's very dangerous. He's got 1 dry dirt race, and it was a springboard mile, and he made a big run to win it in a fast race. I also feel like you look at the race, and it didn't really fall apart. He was the only horse that was making a real move in there, so I give him a lot of credit for that. We'll find out if he classes up here.
All right, trying to win a third stake in a row at a third different track. Let's learn more about his connections. Let's go to Lafitte.
You're trainer Lonnie Briley, trainer of Cole Battle. Lonnie, you have a contender in a Kentucky Derby prep race. How much fun is this?
It's crazy for a little man, but it's one race at a time, you know, and it seems like the closer you get to the paddock, the tougher it is, you know, so we'll see what happens.
Cole Battle, the ability is there. It seems as though he's kind of learning on the job, though, in terms of his professionalism. How is that coming along?
This week he did well, but every race there was some obstacle, you know, and he shot away from the grandstands. In the Jean Lafitte, he shot away from the gates, you know, and it's always been something, but he ain't got room for error today.
Perfect world. Field is entering the far turn. Where is Cole Battle situated?
I'm hoping he's sitting around 5th, maybe, you know, 4th, you know, because it depends on the pace, you know, and I think they'll do at least a 47, you know, and if they do, he ought to be sitting pretty good, you know. At the springboard, they went 47 to 112, and he was pretty comfortable. I mean, the leader was like 5 lengths in front of him, and he caught him, you know. Then looking at the grandstands, you know, but we'll see what happens, you know.
Best of luck, Lonnie.
Thank you very much, and y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Greg?
Well, to be in a race like this, obviously a huge moment, but he knows he has a good one already off those back-to-back stakes wins.
I'm just happy to see Lafitte finally doing some work instead of just staying there and letting Paulie sound smart, you know. So Lafitte, it was nice to see actually do something on the show for a change.
I agree with you.
I knew you did.
He talked about where he wants to see this horse in the race. Is that ideally where you guys see Cole Battle as well?
Well, I mean, you've got – I don't know how fast the pace is going to be, but all of the 1, 5, and 6 feel like forward horses, don't they?
They feel like forward horses, but they don't feel like hell-bent, get the lead types. They feel like horses that are classy types that are going to go out there and clip along and get position, and they're all going to kind of get to a spot and get comfortable and wait for their time to run. I don't think it's going to be a mad dash to fight for the lead.
Right. I mean, the question becomes, does it heat up at some point in the second or third quarter? And if that happens, it helps a horse like the 8. But let me just say something about the 8. He closed into a race last time that nobody else closed into. And he ran the best figure, or as good a figure as anybody, basically, except the one who ran that huge number, but going long. And he's got more experience. And I think at 7-2, he's a very, very solid price in there, because he's the one horse in there that you know can close and handle the distance, right? He's just got to bring that form from Remington, which is not always that easy.
Yeah, we'll see if it translates here to Hot Springs. 7-2 right now on Cole Battle. But, guys, it's hot property for Brad Cox. First time in against winners, who's the 9-5 favorite here in the Smarty Jones.
Why am I catching strays?
Oh, catching strays. Yeah, it's true. They're saying that you're just underworked, I think.
Yeah, like, you know, just I think it was lazy. Essentially, is if you break it down, it's pretty much what they were insinuating. Yeah, Smarty Jones coming up here. 21 Kentucky Derby points available. 10 to the winner. $250,000 purse. We were here opening day, right? We watched Kale's Angel make his dirt debut, facing a solid field. Took to dirt beautifully. Did Kale's Angel, facing Innovator who nearly beat Barnes, the $4 million colt, who's a heavy favorite in the San Vicente a little bit later on this evening out west. Kale's Angel. Now, how do you think he builds on that advent? How do you think he handles the added distance this afternoon?
Well, remains to be seen. And like I had said earlier, and Jonathan had mentioned that, you know, Peter Miller had stretched this horse out on the turf twice. Like, if you stretch this horse out on the turf once, and it's an experiment, I get it. But he tried twice, so to me, it seems like he thought that he could go 2 turns. Maybe it was just the wrong surface. So I just think now going a mile distance, yeah, probably going to use that early speed. There is some early speed in here. But maybe this horse doesn't need the lead. But then again, do you want to take that, you know, best quality away from him?
By the way, Barnes won that San Vicente for Bob Baffert, about the 22nd San Vicente for Bob Baffert seemingly over the years. So that's Kale's Angel. And, yeah, for hot property for Brad Cox at 8-5. Again, Brad Cox, while he's won 3 of the last 4 editions of the Smarty Jones, he has not won a race this meet. Maybe that ends today. To his inside, number 5, Mo Quality. And another storyline here, Paulie, is that this would be a first ever win at Oaklawn Park for trainer Chris Davis.
Yeah, and listen, he employs Junior Alvarado, who was aboard this horse last time out at Churchill Downs and employed an unbelievable run. And when you look, the race was basically set up for horses coming from behind, and this horse was the horse that just destroyed the field. Now, probably should have won first time out with a better beginning. I think Mo Quality, no pun intended, has a ton of quality. You look at the wheel pace, the 1 is the lowest in the wheel pace in the pick 3s, and the 5 is right on top of the Brad Cox runner. So I think the 5, Mo Quality, will get the distance. Whether he's good enough remains to be seen. I think he is good enough.
And that's the early pace scenario, right? Number 1, Kale's Angel. Number 5, Mo Quality, who you just discussed, and then Hot Property in his second career start.
Yeah, I do think, though, that maybe Mo Quality could be more rateable and doesn't really need to go that much forward. Now, Hot Property, we don't know. Got slower fractions, 114, got the job done, very professional, 84 buyer, did exactly what he was supposed to do for Gary and Mary West, a homebred here. But is he going to be happening to be quicker today with the other horses and stay intact? I don't think he's going to be in the front end, but he'll probably be laying second or third. And can he outfinish some of these other horses, like Andy says, that have questions going along?
Here's one thing I did like about Hot Property's effort. The pace was not fast, but he did take some pressure. And there was another horse who was outside trying to turn up the heat, and he was unfazed. He didn't grab the bridle. He didn't get too aggressive there. So while he lacks experience, he did show some professionalism in that regard.
And the bottom side of this family is very, very talented, too. So I can understand 9 to 5. They're battling for favoritism. I thought the Cox horse would be your favorite. And then you go to the outside Cold Battle, the most experienced horse. And these Springboard Mile horses, you could tell he was very green. If there's any more improvement for the 8, the 8 could be very dangerous in here.
It's interesting, yeah, because he does have the experience, but just bad habits.
Yes.
He wanders a little bit. Even in that Springboard Mile win, you could see his rider, Juan Vargas, who was just tugging at that right rein because he was starting to lug in. At some point, he's going to need to put it all together. He does have the physical attributes, as you heard Lonnie Briley discussing, but yeah, as far as focus and maturing, that needs to start coming together.
Yeah, and I think maybe a shorter field, loading last, helps him out a little bit, and like I said, a shorter field keeps him intact and makes him very dangerous in here. Listen, I'm going to land on the 1, Kale's Angel, in here, very tepid. I just think that horse, gosh, was dynamic when he came here, and I think the 2 turns, I think he'll be able to handle it.
He's 5-2, but the favorite, Hot Property by Medaglia d'Oro. Medaglia d'Oro back in the winter of 2003, I believe, when he won an allowance race here at Oaklawn Park, was purchased by Ed Gann, sent to Bobby Frankel, won the San Felipe, second in the Wood Memorial, and eventually 4th in the Kentucky Derby. The sire of the favorite, the Smarty Jones, Hot Property, 8-5 at post time. Matt Dillon with the load and call.
Go in. Mo Quality goes in. Hot Property, post 6. Into the outside. Cold Battle. Here's Cold Battle. We're ready to go in the Smarty Jones Stakes. And they're off. Good beginning from Cold Battle, the Springboard Mile winner. And he wastes no time, is prominent. But Kale's Angel is a little bit naturally quicker. He sticks ahead in front of Cold Battle on a nice hold here second. And Bon Temps moves through between them. A bit keen, is asked to ration his speed today and is in the 3rd position. We come back to the lead. Kale's Angel, the leader here, with Cold Battle, who's aggressive, fresh, wants to get after that front runner. And Mo Quality, who went deep into the first turn run, he's still wide on the course. He's moving forward. And there goes Mo Quality and Junior Alvarado to challenge Cold Battle and Juan Vargas on the front end. The pace is contentious. It's not fast. 24 seconds flat that first quarter mile. So again, this is not a fast pace here as Cold Battle leads the way. Mo Quality backs off again, joining Kale's Angel, and now Kale's Angel is within a half length of Cold Battle. Bon Temps in the meantime, more relaxed in the 4th position. Hot Gunner racing inside of him. And Hot Property broke his maiden towards the front of the field at the fairgrounds a few weeks ago, and today he's at the back of the pack, but he's only 2.5 lengths behind. A compact group hits the 4-turn run. Kale's Angel with the ears pricked up. Cole Battle to the outside. Both runners moving well to this point, and they lead by 1.5 lengths. Mo Quality within range, still on the outside, has lost the most ground, is third. Bontemps between horses. Hot Gunner on the fence, and Hot Property. Flavian Pratt asking him for more, but he's not responding and is still at the back, and it looks like he's out of it. Top of the stretch, Cole Battle with the lead from Kale's Angel on the inside, still right there with him. Mo Quality has asked for his best on the far outside. Cole Battle with the lead as they hit the furlong pole and starts to inch away. Kale's Angel second, Mo Quality third with a 16 to go. Cole Battle is opening up 3-4 lengths coming to the finish, and for the Lonnie Briley barn, it's the pride of Remington Park. It's Cole Battle and the Smarty Jones. Second, Mo Quality, then Kale's Angel and Bontemps.
All business this time in the stretch. Cole Battle in the Smarty Jones, a fired up Juan Vargas and trainer Lonnie Briley. You're on the Kentucky Derby Trail.
No announcer jinx here. The interview by Lafitte Pincay, and I'll tell you what, this horse was sharp out of the gate. He minded his manners. This is a horse that could be serious because he was straight today. He broke right on top and took it to Kale's Angel immediately. You could tell that he had a load of horse underneath and did Juan Vargas. And this was a nice little effort. They went slower than they thought, 115. Lonnie said he wanted to go 47. He was going 49 in front, Lafitte, and the race was over.
Showing a completely different dimension this afternoon. How surprised were you when you saw Cole Battle right on top of the pace?
I'm just not surprised by horses like this. I said it earlier, Andy mentioned it. These type of horses that run on slop, run on turf, run on another slop, run a mile at Remington Park, and run well on all different surfaces, they compete, and this horse competed today.
We didn't see any of those antics in the stretch, Greg. Straight as a string and finishing with authority. Cole Battle, 10 points towards the Run for the Roses.
Well, good to see, and a nice job on that interview. And obviously, a trainer, he does not have a lot of huge horses. To have a horse like this now, it's like a horse who maybe could be a contender as we continue down the road. 3 wins in a row, 3 stakes at 3 different racetracks. And when he did break that sharp early, you got the feeling it's going to be in the mix.
Well, first of all, I love seeing the low-profile connections winning these races. It just makes for a good story. But also, this rider, who we're not that familiar with, he won the race by being aggressive. Junior took the 5 back, and then he tried to move when the pace was slow. The 6 wasn't winning this race under any circumstance. But this horse, being in front like he was in the slow pace, he's a closer in front in a slow pace. How's he going to lose?
Absolutely. It was a brilliant ride early in the race. I know you wanted to go ahead and crown the ride, and it was outstanding. It worked out perfectly for this one, and I agree. I love when you see connections like this because that's what's great about this game is you know, Brad Cox wakes up every morning, looks down his shed row, and looks at millions and millions of dollars of horses, and he's earned it. And I'm not saying that he hasn't,
Part of the game.
but it's also nice to see folks who look down and see 1 or 2 and hope for a good one like this, and then it works out.
Well, that's why the race is named for Smarty Jones, right? Why was Smarty Jones a big story? It felt like a horse that anybody could have owned.
We heard from him before the race. Let's go back to Lafitte with a winning trainer.
Lonnie, how exciting is this moment for you, having won the Smarty Jones and Cole Battle?
It's crazy because I didn't expect him to go to the front all the way around. I expected him to kind of break pretty sharp and we'd have took him back, you know, but he didn't want to come back. And I was a little worried, you know, when I kept watching him and he kind of flicked his ears, you know. I said, he's far from done, you know. And, I mean, he ran a great race, you know. And the thing about it, he's way faster than the times up there, you know. And but you know, he's every race he surprises me.
What was going through your mind when you saw him in the stretch? None of those antics prior, straight as a string.
All honesty, I done fired and rehired the jockey. Oh yeah, and but I don't know what to say. You know, I mean, he's a neat little coat. He's unique. Every time I run him, he does something different. You know.
There's this moment that you'll enjoy, the win in the Smarty Jones. But what does it mean to know that you're training a 3-year-old that right now is on that path, who has just earned 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby.
Right, that makes him 20, and I think he'll be second in the standings, but they got some big races coming up, So
we're going to let you go. Okay. Lonnie, enjoy it. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Greg.
Great moment for a barn that most people probably have never heard of, and to have a horse of this kind of quality. Now this horse is on the national stage, and he, no doubt off this, I mean, he may be one of the favorites going into the bigger preps at Oaklawn if he goes forward.
I mean, we'll see how fast the race comes back. You always want to look at speed figures, and it's not like the horses that are in the upper echelon are running particularly fast races, so that's good for him. And he's obviously got adaptability, but there was some, listen, I'm not saying, I think he would have won regardless, but the 6 didn't run, and I think that Flavio Wanderate, what was the story with the 5? Why wouldn't you at least come out and look to be forward? I didn't see anything happen at the start, did you?
No, I mean, you never know what the instructions are going to be, and there's also with these races, one of the things that happens is when you have horses trying to go a distance for the first time, sometimes the trainers have seen a lot in the morning to make them think that it might be a mountain that might be too high for them to climb, and the instructions could be, hey, you know, look, we're going to need all your help here to try to get this mile on a 16th, and sometimes it can lead to rides like that that can seem confusing.
Lonnie Briley, enjoy this moment. He's getting used to it. Stakes win, 3 in a row with this 3-year-old by Cole Front. Cole Battle just keeps on rolling, this time in this Smarty Jones.
Bright future indeed. Bright future, the son of Curlin to win by 4. Bright future, Proxy, here's the line. Photo finish, Bright future.
Bright future, look at that. Bright future, the class prevails.
Bright future, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
Greatest Honor has taken the lead now. Less than a quarter of a mile to go, and Greatest Honor starts to get away. Greatest Honor, he's an easy winner in the Holy Bull. And here he comes now. Greatest Honor finding his best stride right when he needs to, and he's going to run down drain the clock to win the Fountain of Youth.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage, America's Day of the Races on Fox Sports 2. And what a way to kick off this 2025 Road to the Kentucky Derby. 2 incredibly exciting Derby preps. Cole Battle from lesser-known connections. They have a good 3-year-old in this one. He's won 3 stakes in a row now. As mentioned, 3 different tracks and 3 different distances also.
And he's a horse that is not uncomfortable being in front in a slow pace. I don't know what horse would be. But he's shown different running styles. And listen, we don't know how fast they are. It's early in the year. But this is one that the trainer came here to run against kind of the big guys, and the horse answered him. It's going to get tougher going forward, but there's no reason he can't be optimistic and dream now. And I also think at this point, it's not like there's a whole bevy of super fast 2-year-olds from 2024 out there that a horse can't, put himself in that position to be in the upper echelon.
Absolutely, and he can continue to improve, and he's established himself on this 3-year-old trail at Oaklawn, and will go on to the next spots. And I imagine he'll show up and dance all the dances, and at the end of the day, if he's got enough points to run the Kentucky Derby, could be a life-changing or life-altering a moment for those connections.
And we always like these stories. They're always, a story comes along with a horse. It gives us something to talk about. And I think the stories are fun. And that's, the people in the game. To see this gentleman who won that we're not familiar with get a little bit of spotlight, I think it's cool.
3 stakes wins in a row. Well done, Lonnie Bradley. Looking forward to seeing Cole Battle at the next step of the road to this 2025 Kentucky Derby. Big performance here in this Smarty Jones. Meanwhile, Mark Cassidy, we've been talking about him all summer long. He had a tremendous Saratoga, especially with his 2-year-olds. To see him in the stake tomorrow, the Tinsel, with a big contender in full screen. I'll have a preview coming up. Back with you on America's Day at the Races. This is how Paul Duca wakes up each and every morning. Rolls into the elevator. They have it waiting for him.
I'm getting dizzy just
Cup
watching
of
this
coffee
thing.
waiting for him. Rolls through the casino.
You don't think any stops are made?
No, he goes straight through.
Lucky his lucky slot machine?
Right. Well, there's the axe throwing, too, that he gets
That's
a few
true.
throws in.
Known axe thrower, Paul Duca.
Yeah, which they do have there,
I should
by the
help
way.
attendance at Oaklawn. Paulie there throwing axes around.
And then right out to the racetrack. Tinsel is coming up tomorrow. Mile and an eighth, 4-year-old nub, $175,000 purse. Now, you've been talking to me a lot about Horace Mann, and certainly those back-to-back wins he comes in off of.
I was talking about the prep school in New York where my friends went. He is in great form and drawing the rail. You got to think he's going to go in here. Now, how much speed is Frosted Departure outside of him going to have? And that's going to answer a big question. Is he's going to stretch out to a mile and 8? Yeah, he wanted a mile at Churchill, but he did it, setting the pace, going one turn. Last time out, he had a perfect trip when he got it done, 7 furlongs. His last mile and 8th race, a disappointing third at 7-5. Now he's going to be under the gun, and if the pace gets hot, he's got to get 9 furlongs. That'll make it tough for him. Will they go fast enough for Red Route 1, though? Can he win without Joel Rosario?
Some time ago for Steve Asmussen, it was at one time one of his Triple Crown contenders. It was a bit of a surprise. Others in this race?
I know somebody that made a lot of money because Laughing Boy got put up in a stake race in 2024.
Guys, care to comment?
You, Greg.
Oh. Can't remember yesterday. Let's keep it on the tits with a Lafitte. Paulie, jeez.
With no mics? They're not. They're
just have a hand signal.
So whoever, I owe somebody $50.
Okay.
Fair enough, that Lafitte
Usually,
guy anyway.
yeah. I mean, whenever we do our show in the morning too, we give out picks. Andy always remembers the horses I picked. I have no recollection.
You got put up in the stake. You got put up. And I remember I got taken down, and you texted me. You got put up for some enormous score in the pick 5, and I immediately, I think I got disqualified for like $500, and I was feeling sorry for myself. And you told me how much you won,
One of those
and I was
rare
glad I got
times
taken down.
Where a DQ works out for you.
You would have hit it anyway, but it was different between a few thousand and like 50,
yeah.
it was like 40 or 50 to 1.
Look, we talked about Mark Casse going to break in full screen. Another major contender in that Tinsel coming up tomorrow. And J.K. Tinsel coming off that impressive performance. And it was at Oaklawn, too, back on December 13th.
Yeah, I mean, you got to love that, right? I mean, the horses run well on the racetrack, and it's arguably one of the best races this horse has ever run in his entire career. But it didn't come out of nowhere. This horse has run performances throughout his career that are in the ballpark of this, and maybe he's just getting good at the right time. Last time he was able to kind of just stalk towards the outside and circle around, and hopefully from this 4-post he'll be able to work out a similar trip because he seems to run well when he's in the clear.
What's going on with this Casse family in Hot Springs? It was his son Norm Casse a couple of years ago could not lose through the first half of the meet at Hot Springs, and now Dad off to an incredible start as well.
I think it's the purses. I think that they point to this meet. The importance of their stable and for their owner.
I feel like this is the first year that Mark's made an assault on Oaklawn, and obviously had a very good summer, in Saratoga, and he's continuing and doing well.
That's coming up tomorrow, race 9, 5:22 Eastern time on our Sunday program on Fox Sports. We still have another to come. Closing things out with his 10th entry-level allowance at 1 1/16. 4-year-olds and up, and that's your current favorite, Sir Greyland. For Ken McPeak, Julian Leperoux will ride. Stay with us.
Seize the Gray wins convincingly.
Seize the Gray. He's going to seize the day in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Seize the Gray is still there. Seize the Gray wins the Preakness.
These New York bred foals represent many sires: War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at Naira Tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation was formed in 1940 with a simple goal: to raise funds for research to enhance the health and soundness of horses. Since then, we've provided millions of dollars to hundreds of projects at universities around the world, leading to major advances in welfare. Our process of selecting and producing peer-reviewed research has become the trusted industry standard. And with your help, we'll be here for many years to come, supporting the health and wellness of all horses.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Nestled behind the gates of Hillendale Farm at Alapa, you can find a cabin-like 5,000 square foot home called the Treehouse. It's a new one-of-a-kind getaway destination located in the heart of horse country. The home offers hewn beams, flooring made from lumber harvested from Maker's Mark's original rickhouse. A room with vintage horse saddles, the collection includes one that belonged to the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. You can enjoy a drink or a meal on the back screened porch or one of 4 decks that overlook the tranquil Stoner Creek. Upon request, reservations can be purchased to experience an inside look of a working thoroughbred farm with a tour of Hillendale. The Treehouse now offers a unique place to stay on the grounds that house the famed Kentucky Stallion Station and Thoroughbred Nursery of Hillendale at Alapa.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage on America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Nightcap to come from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And they'll close things out with this first level allowance race, mile and a 16th, 4-year-olds and up. As usual, you have big purse money on the line, $130,000. And here's Winston Wolf.
Yeah, this is a very, very competitive race. This horse has absolutely no speed. He's going to need a blistering pace.
Tom Amos, trainee to 1. Here's King Russell at 7-2.
Yeah, King Russell ran well off of a short break last time. Looks to take another step forward.
Ran in the Derby back in 23. Fleet Sky went by.
The only thing I like about him is his name. I love the Fleet.
Dance Samoa at 8-1.
Yeah, another one who ran well last time, but was sitting off of a slow pace.
Steve Asmussen's son Keith with Get a Job.
I think the 4 is dangerous. I got a trainer staff for him. This horse has run well in New York, a New York bred going down there for the winter. We'll see if they want to stay up here and run against New York breds.
Dwayne Lucas, Daily Grind went by.
Yeah, hasn't been breaking very well in his last couple starts.
Here's Hoodlum for Al Stall.
I always take a second look when Al Stall is a horse in. This horse is on the fringes of being competitive.
Free again, a big price, Todd Fincher.
Yeah, hasn't run well since earlier this year, and it was in a much softer spot.
Linebacker has Isaac Castillo.
His last race on a muddy Harrow track was bad. Before that, he was running big figures.
Cipriano Contreras with one with speed here, the 10.
You didn't want to try to pronounce that?
No, I did not.
He has been running. Some of the best races have been on the turf.
Gewürztraminer, maybe?
$10 to anybody that gets the name right.
Joe Sharp, Lambeth.
Coming off a couple fast races, I did not get any favors, though, by the post.
Sir Grayland, Ken McPeak, Julian Leproux is the favorite.
Yeah, deserves to be the favorite in here. Ran well last time, should run well here again. I just don't trust this horse at a short price.
I'm not taking short prices and far outside posts and 2-turn races at Oaklawn. That's what concerns me more than anything.
Yeah, not a real long run, too, to that first turn either. 5 minutes away from this finale coming up. You can bet this race, all the action we show you, and much more by getting signed up with Naira Bets. Get that offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. When new members punch in that code at sign-up, bonus 200. And bet any track, anywhere, anytime at NairaBets.com as we send it out to Lafitte and Paul.
Nice, easy race to close the show. Paulie, what'd you come up with?
Well, I think the 12 horse is much the horse to beat. I actually talked to Ray Briner, and he really liked his horse, the Kennedy McPeak runner on the outside. He just told me the dreaded 12 hole. It's so hard to win from the outside slot. So maybe that's the one Achilles heel for the 12 in here, but I think that's the horse to beat.
It was hours ago. Kenny McPeak saddled the winner of the first race on this Smarty Jones Saturday, looking to take down the nightcap. Wide open. This 10th and final race here at Oaklawn Park. As the warm-up continues, had a chance to see Cole Battle win that Smarty Jones. So excited for Lonnie Briley. And
awesome.
as the guys were discussing, just different characters, different faces, different people involved with potential Derby/Triple Crown candidates.
And you know the other horseman here, I was just talking, we were just sitting right down here with Chance Moquette, who's saddling King Russell. And King Russell, who got up for third last year to get into
the Arkansas Derby, yeah.
The Arkansas Derby, get into the Derby. But he was saying, like Lonnie Briley, he was just so happy for Lonnie, saying he's just such a great guy, been doing this for so long. And he was so excited because that horse had passed his horse in the Springboard Mile, so it sort of franked his horse a little bit. But Chance was, other horsemen so happy for Lonnie. So a great result for a lot of people around here.
Popular win. A lot of congratulations for Lonnie Briley on the Derby Trail with Cole Battle. Meantime here, in this wide open 10th and final, circling back to number 4, Dance Samoa, 7-2 on the morning line, overlay 7-1. Big afternoon, solid afternoon. Francisco Arrieta, 2 wins thus far. Let's revisit his latest. This was mid-December right here. He'd been busy, Paulie, in 2024. This is his 14th start of the year and closes out 2024 with a W, a convincing win.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is this horse just loves this racetrack. This horse was 2 for 31 going into the race. Didn't really have the winning spirit, to be honest with you. A lot of second places, but just put away that group and just kept on going. And I was actually surprised that day. So I would not dismiss this horse. The horse is getting dismissed again at 7-1 for a horse that likes this racetrack. I do think winning 2 in a row for a horse.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. 3 for, yeah.
Yeah, 3 wins lifetime, but 2 of them are here.
Down towards the inside, 7-2. You touched on King Russell and Ricardo Santana, that runner-up effort in the Arkansas Derby, allowing him to run in the Kentucky Derby. What's the key for him to be successful today with Santana?
Well, if you look back 2 starts ago, Santana, he was a horse that really laid way far out of it. And if you look, I think Ricardo, they took him to the lead one time at Ellis Park, and then they finally kind of found his niche, I think, where middle pack. And Ricardo's gotten him a little bit closer and closer to the lead. And with him being in the inside, I do think he's got a decent shot in here. And he's always been a horse, like I said, has been way out the back. I don't think he's going to be way out the back today.
To King Russell's inside for our friend and colleague Tom Amos, Winston Wolfe, Pulp Fiction fans, this is your horse. He's been in good form, and what do you make of his chances to go back-to-back and what will be his Oaklawn debut and his 20th career start?
Yeah, his lone bad start was in a really tough race at Ellis Park, but his last 3 races have been very good. You get Rafael Bejarano aboard. Tom's shipped in here with a purpose. He's 10 for 15 in the trifecta with 4 wins, so his horses have been running well, and Rafael's been riding well too.
Bejarano, a couple of wins yesterday. Another look at the favorite, Sir Graylin. All right, so what does Le Peru have to do to secure, at very least, decent position from the far outside post going into the clubhouse turn?
That's a good question. This horse had shown speed for Grant Forster. Last time out, had the 1 hole and got a good trip, but probably needed that start. That's what at least Ray Briner was telling me. And, with the 11, Lambeth on the outside probably should show speed. Maybe the 12 can, and the 10 has a little bit of speed for Cipriano Contreras. Maybe if those 2 horses can leave out of there, maybe the 12 can get a little bit of cover.
Big field, 10th and final on this Smarty Jones Saturday. And just a final thought on the Smarty Jones, just having been completed in the last 20 minutes. And we'll go back and we'll watch the race and we'll see what kind of speed figure the race produces. But, who would have thought how productive last year's Smarty Jones would have been? And how many were locked in on a colt named Mystic Dan, who ran 5th, who earned 1 point towards the Kentucky Derby, who wound up being last year's Kentucky Derby winner. It's difficult to try and get a true gauge of these 3-year-olds as they're developing and how productive that particular heat might be. Just a first local step of 4 towards the Arkansas Derby.
It's true, and you never know when they're going to put it all together. And obviously, Lonnie Briley's charge put it all together. I mean, Cole Battle had shown just hints of being very brilliant in his last race in the Springboard Mile. And again, I want to say this and give props to Remington Park. The Springboard Mile every year produces a very good field, and horses that come out of that field usually have good careers or run well throughout the year. And, I mean, that horse today grew up. We'll see if he keeps on growing up a little bit more as we go forward.
One with authority and conviction, Lonnie Briley, great story. Look forward to seeing him resurface as the series continues. Late January, the Southwest Stakes with $1 million purse, the Rebel, Arkansas Derby, all roads leading to Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May for the Kentucky Derby. Here, where Sir Graylin, still the 5-2 favorite, and despite the bad post, the wagering public having zeroed in on him, and that's what we'll be watching for early on is if Le Peru can find at very least a decent spot for him.
I think the price on the board is a 7. I don't know if Al Stahl stuck his horse on the van with Tom Amos's horse, but Hoodlum should not be 14-1. And then that's where I actually landed in this spot. 7-time winner, 5-time winner this year at 14-1. I understand the 12's the horse to beat, but I don't understand why the 7 is that big of a price.
Let's see how it all unfolds. 10th and final on Smarty Jones Saturday from Oaklawn Park. One final time. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Pair? Gewürztraminer has loaded. Dan Samo working with him to take his spot in line. Still trying with Dan Samo. Dan Samo goes in. Lambeth, post 11, get a job to post position number 5. 2 back. Daily Grind into the outside post. Sir Grayland. We're ready to go in the finale. And they're off, and a bad stumble for linebacker, who stumbled very badly and is well behind after that. Get a job to the lead from Gewürztraminer, who attempts to play catch-up. He wants to get out there, too. He's very keen here. Going into the first turn run, get a job with the lead from Gewürztraminer, who's right there to his outside. They're moving at a decent tempo in the early stages. Dan Samo runs in third. Sir Grayland parked outside, a joint fourth with the gray King Russell. A length and a half to Lambeth in a good position now in midfield. 3/4 to a Fleet Sky, the long shot. Then comes Hoodlum, Winston Wolf. They run as a pair. They're 3 better than Daily Grind. Free again as one runner beat, and that's linebacker, who stumbled badly at the break. They're down the backstretch. Gewürztraminer still very keen here. Takes a hold of the bit with Walter De La Cruz and strides to ahead of Daily Grind, who backs off, attempts to get a breather in the second spot. Dan Samo joins him. Sir Grayland fourth to the outside, now about 5 lengths off the runaway leader, Gewürztraminer, who's still chugging along here on the front end. The gray King Russell shuffled back to 5th while nickeled along going into the far turn. Daily Grind is trying to produce an early bid. He's moved from about 10th. He's all the way into 4th now as Get a Job begins to weaken. Lambeth is in a pack of horses, is advancing position. Lambeth has a little bit of run behind the leaders as they come to the top of the lane. The leader is still Gewürztraminer. Dan Samo's a lot closer, though, right on his throat latch coming to the top of the lane, and Sir Grayland is poised to pounce 3 wide. Sir Grayland at the top of the lane swoops to the front from Gewürztraminer, who's behind in second. Dan Samo third, Lambeth fourth, and just plotting in place at this point. There's a 16th to go, and Sir Grayland is opening up the lead now. He's 3 ahead, now about 4, and Sir Grayland finishing full of run. Sir Grayland and Julian Leperoux in the nightcap. A photo for second. It got tight between Dan Samo and Gewürztraminer. Lambeth could only manage to be 4th.
What bad post. From the far outside, Julian Leperoux, Sir Grayland strikes in the 10th and final.
Yeah, the best horse in the race, and good information by Ray Briner. But the 10 cut out a lot of the fractions here, and I thought that helped the 12, get in position. But just much the best. When you can win from the 12-0, like I said out here, the 10 ran a bang-up race. I want to say might have held on for a second here for the charge of the 4. Dan Samo here late, but the 10 hung in there for a while, but just no doubt about the winner. Horse that needed that last race, got outside, and won today. And, ooh, that's very close to second.
Back to Greg in New York to wrap it all up.
Lafitte, Paulie, thank you. What a day it was. Kicking off that road to the Kentucky Derby. Cyclone State makes it 3 in a row to take the Jerome and Cole battle. What a story. Winning for low-profile connections, Lonnie, Briley, and Juan Vargas. And the Smarty Jones back at 1 Eastern. FS2 start time on Sunday. We'll see you then.